so I don't drink that much anymore. But this week made me want to. Actually, not this whole week. Just like yesterday. Just yesterday.
Yikes.
I couldn't even keep up. I think John in the group was like, what the fuck is even happening today? Because every time he logged back in the group, someone posted some outrageous headline.
But like, okay, here's the thing. There's a couple of these news pieces where I'm just like, wow, I really don't care about any of this, so I'm not gonna get worked up over it. like the what's, for example, the Lobo thing. Like, I stopped caring about Lobo like last year. I don't give a fuck anymore.
That's the core of the conversation, which we'll get to, I think, toward the end. Because I think we should start with the Venom show. But first, hi, I'm Connor. Welcome to this news edition of the After Dark Venom Zone. Who else is here?
It's your boy Hunter Davenport coming at you live.
Arlen Harrow from somewhere. Let's say that.
Somewhere in the void.
Right.
What are you, in the fucking Red Lodge? What's happening?
Eric Fedorchik with a belly full of Chili's barbecue and a margarita.
All right. I almost got beer for this episode, but decided against it.
Yeah.
I'm drinking a rum and Coke right now, so.
Ah, shit. Missed opportunity.
I'm resisting the brandy underneath my desk, so.
You should. No, you need it. You need to.
Well, are you a 70-year-old man?
I'm becoming one. That's for sure.
We finished Frankenstein Unbound the other day, the movie that I'm started recording. I didn't know, but Joe had like a bottle of fucking, I don't know what the hell it was recording, because he hated that movie.
That sounds like me when I went and saw X-Men Last Stand.
Oh God!
I snuck a flask of whiskey in and poured it into my Coke like halfway through the movie. Was like, well, that's what this is gonna be now.
I have like a fifth of Bacardi Gold waiting for when Dark Phoenix comes out.
That's why I love living in Las Vegas, because I can go into the lobby of any local movie theater and be like, "Can I have 4 beers?"
Man.
Well, speaking of bad Marvel movies.
However, it's the problem is, I go up there and be like, "I'll have 4 beers." They'd be like, "That'll be $74."
Yeah. It really should just be a sliding scale of like, well, what movie are you seeing? Oh, you're seeing Dark Phoenix? All right, your beers are $2 a piece. Here you go.
Oh, you're seeing The Forest, starring Natalie Dormer.
Wait, is that the Japanese?
Yeah, the Japanese Suicide Forest movie.
Dude, that movie is criminally uneventful. And it's a complete waste of like a really intriguing location.
Mm-hmm.
That has to be like the worst thing you can say about a horror movie is that it's uneventful.
Right.
Oh yeah.
They use the idea and then they don't do anything with it.
They do it. They don't do anything, and the ending is just like perplexing and doesn't make any goddamn sense, because the whole reason they go in there is to find her twin sister, and like the whole thing is like, oh, is she dead? Is she alive? Blah blah blah, and like some weird spooky shenanigans go down, and then her twin sister just walks out of the forest like, here I am.
There's a movie I watched like a long time ago. It's called like Gillibick Road, and like the only reason I watched it because it's set in New Hampshire and it's like a horror movie.
Right.
And like it's like kind of like The Shining in some ways. It's just like this trail you walk down and it drives you insane.
That's kind of cool.
It is really cool, but like the whole time I was watching it, I was like, you know, if nothing happened during this movie, I'd be very pissed, because like,
yeah,
it's very, at the beginning's very slow. So it's like,
here's the thing, like even the worst horror movies I can think of I've seen in theaters have one moment where I'm like, that was kind of cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
or at least not cool, but like The Doll. What was it? That movie, The Doll came out a few years ago, right? With what's her face from Walking Dead?
Oh, The Boy.
The Boy. Okay.
Which
movie,
who knows the spoiler to that movie? I know the spoiler.
I know the spoiler
too.
and it's kind of dumb.
I do too. And here's the thing, like that movie, I was like, I don't know how I feel with this movie the whole time. When that dude stepped out of the wall, I laughed and laughed and laughed and laughed and laughed. So I'm like, fuck this whole experience. I'm like, you spend 90 minutes building up to a supernatural thriller and you just introduce Jason Voorhees. Eat shit.
So that was the big reveal, was that the boy was actually living in the walls.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah, it was the boy was like a grown man living inside the house.
Yeah, it's like those real stories that you hear about like children who like grew up in basements and in the walls and stuff, and it's like that.
Yeah.
But
and when it was over, I was like, I've seen people in the stairs. It's awesome. This movie sucked.
Well, maybe that was a prequel to the DCU's version of Batman. That's where Martha Wayne. That's why she's so fucked up. That's why she ended up marrying Bruce Wayne's dad.
She ended up marrying a weird psychopath who's like, someone drew a gun. I should fight him.
Exactly. I should go kill him.
Well, it is. Jeffrey
Before
Dean
that
Morgan, so
tornado
he-
gets me.
Good
The
friend
tornado's-
of John.
He would fist fight it.
The thing is, I think Thomas Wayne would win a fight with a tornado.
I think he
Probably.
would actually. That version of Thomas Wayne.
Yeah, that version definitely.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we also
Yeah.
have Flashpoint Thomas Wayne, who's like, I'll shoot you.
Yeah.
Well,
He pulls out a
Flashpoint
spiked
Thomas
bat.
Wayne would just snarl at it, and it would end up.
He just spits a bunch of bullets in a tornado, and he's like, damn. I can't shoot all my problems away.
Exactly.
All right, let's get down to okay.
Some news.
Fucking start with this Venom trailer that
It's
you can't
okay.
say a whole lot about because it's nothing.
You mean Tom Hardy with his vaguely East
I think-
Coast accent?
okay.
No,
Of
I'm convinced that's not Tom Hardy. It sounds like fucking Terrence Howard.
It does. It does.
Here's the thing. I'm more excited for the second trailer for this movie than this one.
Oh, you mean the one
honestly.
when they actually have
Yeah.
special effects in it?
Yes.
Other than
Because-
just like a case with like black slime in it that you see for like a second.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cletus Cassidy is staring at.
Mm-hmm.
Was that who is that actor? Is that what is Woody
He
Harrelson?
was. He
Or
was
am
in
I just stupid?
the Night of.
Yeah,
That was where he got his big start.
and he's Bodie Rook also.
Oh, that
Oh!
guy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Man, the balls on them if they put Carnage in this movie because everybody fucking hates Carnage.
I
Well,
mean,
they haven't
everyone-
confirmed it. They haven't confirmed.
everyone liked Carnage at a point.
Yeah.
It. Nope. What? What?
Well, I mean,
when
to
did
be,
this happen?
to be
There was a
fair,
period of time where people thought Carnage was cool.
this is the
was a
same
very
time
short
Limp
period of
Bizkit
time.
was popular. So
Okay,
You know,
good
you know what I
point.
mean?
The thing,
Good
it's,
point.
I think everyone has kind of very nostalgic goggles for the Maximum Carnage comic arc. The video game is fantastic, if not hard as shit.
It's hard as shit. I can agree on
it's
that.
fun.
But
though.
the
Good game.
comic, the whole event is kind of like, why did you bring out all these fucking D-list characters for this major event?
Oh, yeah, it's not.
Fuck about Doppelganger.
The thing
Oh.
is, I think Venom is more interesting when you pair him with Spider-Man.
Yep.
And it's like, I'm not saying a single, like a solo Venom movie can't work, because I think it can. I don't know.
Mm.
I'd have to see it. No, but like, I don't know. My feelings on it is like, I don't know enough about this for me to be angry about this. So,
I'm not
Well,
really.
just,
It's
just
just
from
anger, fuddlement. Like, why did you even show us this?
yeah.
Yeah.
Like, why don't you
Just-
just take your time?
just
And
from
even-
what we've seen of the trailer, like with Tom Hardy having an MRI done and whatnot, I'm wondering if they're borrowing from the Ultimate Spider-Man universe, where Venom is actually started as a cure for cancer.
Maybe. I mean,
Huh.
Hi, I'm Olivier, and I've been here this entire time.
That's cool. Okay.
damn it, Al.
Maybe
He's a-
next time, introduce yourself from the beginning of the show,
Or tell us
You're
in the
here.
chat that you're coming on.
or tell us in the chat. And you don't startle anybody. Thanks. My 31-year-old heart is full of caffeine. Can really take that.
Hey, by the time it's gonna be out, I'm gonna be 24.
Oh wow.
Okay.
That's that's about all you're getting
Still
for
not old
that.
enough to rent a car.
Yeah.
Congratulations. That's
God
one of the
damn
most
it,
uncomfortable
Eric.
ages you'll ever experience.
Just savor 24 because everything after that is downhill, man.
That's true. I mean, when I come to visit Connor in Vegas, he's gonna have to rent the car for me, and then I'll pay him back. So that'll be fun.
You should wreck it. Just wreck it. Just fill it full
Just-
of things.
just
destroy it.
Just destroy Connor's credit.
No, okay, first of all, you wrecking a car couldn't possibly destroy my credit any more than I did 6 years ago. So that's how fucked my credit score is.
But no, like I was saying with the trailer, like I'm almost convinced they're borrowing pretty heavily from the Ultimate Spider-Man universe. Maybe it's not going to be Venom, or at least the symbiote was created as a cure for cancer, but I'm wondering if there's going to be something in there that they don't realize what it is initially.
I could see that. I could definitely see that.
Here's my thing: how they handle his relationship to Spider-Man is going to be integral, and if they gloss over it, I'm going to be furious. Because what is it, like 75% of Venom's abilities that he has come from the fact that he was bonded to Peter first.
Right.
Exactly everything that Venom as the symbiote knows to do is because I was connected with this guy who was using me this way.
Also, here's the thing. Here's the thing about his name. Name Venom is not a cheeky play on the fact that he drools green goo.
No.
It's the fact that Eddie Brock was a journalist, and after he's discredited by Peter, all he's left with is writing like just fucking tabloid rags and sensational garbage. So he's like, you turn me into someone who just does. I think it's a journalism term, venom. It's just you're spitting out nonsense.
Spitting violent venom, I think, is the term.
Yes. So that's what it's a journalist term.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think that's I don't think people are still aware of that.
Have you seen the short film by Adi Shankar?
I fucking hate that little short film.
It's something, but it does kind of like bring that up in like a way.
Are you? Is that
the
the Man Bites Dog one?
Yes.
Yeah, the black and white one.
Yeah. With
Here's the
the
thing.
True Blood dude.
Here's the thing. That could have been so much better. Like
It could have. I mean, for what it was, though, because you don't really know what it is unless you know exactly who Eddie Brock is going into it. Because I think they mention like Eddie or they say Eddie Brock, but
his name shows up, like in the old title card.
Truth
but
and
until
journalism.
you get to the end, like you don't know that it's actually it's Venom unless you're steeped in the lore of Spider-Man.
Yeah, I mean it does reference Emil Gregg at one point. The case that he's on that Peter ruins that eventually brings him to the church.
Here, guys, keep chatting. I gotta run to the bathroom real fast.
But like,
Tell me about
like-
the bathroom, Connor.
no, please don't do this. I think that this movie is definitely like, if they show Venom, I don't know if they're gonna do it in the second trailer or not. Is what I'm trying to get at. But like,
Well, somebody on Phantom Zone when chat about the actual trailer in one of the posts, like somebody had mentioned something along the ideas of like it's going to be kind of like Jaws is what they're hoping, where you're not going to see the monster until the movie. And I really hope that is the case.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that. Like,
Especially if they treat it as a horror thing, which is what I remember hearing, and I think that's the best idea for Venom, is to basically do a werewolf movie, but with Venom.
Yeah.
Yep. That's definitely the smartest route if you can do it well. And I could be into that, but nothing about the trailer, like, it definitely assured us that this movie is coming out, that a movie is being made.
That could be the other title for the trailer is, hey, this is coming out, guys.
It's not a joke. It's not a sequel to Life.
I want the subtitle to be like, "We came out before Spawn."
Right.
Or,
Although,
fuck you, Todd McFarlane.
still not convinced that this isn't a secret Uncharted movie. Hashtag Uncharted.
I mean, I can see it.
Yeah.
Because there's so many elements of it that are Uncharted, and that this could easily all be from the first third of the movie. And the goo stuff could just be what he's going to find. It all works, guys. It all works. But no, like, I don't know how to feel about this. I do think we need a second trailer, but I do think that people's opinion on the trailer would be different if there was just a shot of Tom Hardy's arm transforming, just his arm.
Yep.
Yeah.
Completely different trailer
Or even,
at that point.
you don't even have to see his arm transforming. Just seeing black goo starting to climb up him.
Here's the thing, like even the Spider-Man 3 trailer gave us like one quick glimpse of the suit latching itself onto Eddie,
Right.
at the tail end of it,
Mhm.
and how stupidly excited I was.
Yeah. But if we saw Tom Hardy, an actor who we can agree is much better suited to the role, if we saw that, I think people would be freaking out right now. Like,
I'd be losing my fucking mind because I can't think of a better actor to pick for Eddie Brock than the brick shithouse that is Tom Hardy.
You got Bronson.
Yeah, you got fucking Bronson to be Eddie Brock.
yeah.
I'm just.
Which, by the way, I'm very proud of my Dynamite post today.
It was pretty good. I don't know if people thought I was joking, but I would actually be into that. If he just looked like something out of the end of Apocalypse Now after he put on the symbiote. Like,
I do like that. I do really like the choice of Tom Hardy because, like, that dude's fucking stacked. Like,
yeah.
he's frightening.
And early
Well,
on, early on, he's why I was like, okay, this could be a real thing, because he doesn't sign on to things just like willy nilly. Like, he doesn't sign up for 50 projects and hopes that they work out. He's very careful about what he chooses, which is why there aren't like 10 This Is Wars out in the world. There's only one of those.
I'm
I
honestly
didn't even
surprised
see
this
that
movie
movie.
even got to filming with him in it. Like after what happened with Suicide Squad, I was kind of expecting like, yeah, we got Tom Hardy. Yeah, let's see what happens. Oh, he dropped out. What a surprise.
But even that like video where we could not discern where that was or like what the fuck that event was,
Dude,
which by the way,
I thought it was a fucking Onion video.
it's apparently a Comic-Con somewhere.
I think it was in Spain or someplace like that. I know it was
Yes.
not in America.
But in that video, he seems excited to do this. Like he seems
Yeah.
like he wants to do this.
Yeah. And maybe that's the strength of the script. I mean, maybe that's what we're not getting is that it's actually a very well done script and
Yeah.
we'll be pleasantly surprised.
Yeah. Now,
I don't like.
flip
I
side
don't
to all of
want Venom
that.
I don't want Venom to fail.
Yeah, same.
No.
I mean, I kind of want to like set Sony adrift in a fucking iceberg, but
Well, I mean, I want. We could do a whole episode on Sony. We did once. It was before we had the title After Dark. We did a whole episode on Spider-Man.
And it was a great episode. You should go listen to it.
Yeah, but like a flip side to all this, I remember saying the exact same thing when Michael Fassbender signed on to Assassin's Creed, and he picked out the director and he picked out the
Yeah.
script, and
But like, but here's the difference. That's Assassin's Creed. You know
No,
what I mean?
Here,
Like,
okay, and here's the thing with Assassin's Creed, and that problem has been rectified with Assassin's Creed Origins. I think going forward, it's going to be fixed. For some reason, the powers that be at Ubisoft think that people are 200% invested in the fucking Animus and the stupid ass Abstergo nonsense and all the present day bullshit.
Right.
Nobody cares. Nobody cares.
So it's a giant studio with a lot of money from other things,
Yeah.
making bad choices. That doesn't sound familiar at all.
Yeah.
Yeah. It doesn't sound like a match made in heaven, honestly.
And Assassin's Creed Origins successfully downplayed that to the point where by the end of the game, I had forgotten that I already came across a willy-nilly sci-fi alien spitting stupid stuff at me. The ancient civilizations and the Order of the Apple and the blah 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 on the wall of the tablet.
Oh, I did all that stuff pretty much right away so I could get the cool looking suit and that was it.
But
I'm
like,
done.
But like to kind of like the point of Venom, like the difference between Venom and Assassin's Creed
Right.
is that people actually care about this character. Like
Yeah.
this, people care about Assassin's Creed, but not to the level they care about Venom.
I'm just
Yeah.
talking about the actors. What's the word?
Passion.
Yes.
Their
Enthusiasm?
credit, their
Okay.
enthusiasm.
I mean,
their...
you can look at something like After Earth, where Will Smith was so invested in that, he bought it for his son.
Wow.
Yeah,
Like,
but
you
even
know,
by then,
fucking-
it wasn't peak Will Smith at that point. Like
No,
Yeah.
it's apathetic Will Smith.
this
Have
is
you guys-
it's closer to Wild Wild West, which is a movie Will
Yeah.
Smith was a big part of.
So
like-
have you guys heard the story about David
And
Bowie?
the giant
and-
goddamn spider.
David Bowie and the Omicron, the No Man's Soul, the video game.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
I haven't heard
Yeah.
of this.
So basically, for people who don't know, David Bowie was only supposed to do the soundtrack, and then he went to the studio and he was like, "Oh my god, this shit is so fucking rad! I need to be in this game." And they put him.
Yeah,
in,
and like in his defense, like it's probably like the first time he stepped into like that side of gaming.
yeah,
And for someone like that, it's probably mesmerizing. Like, wow,
Yeah.
look at this world of
Yeah.
magic.
especially
and
knowing Bowie,
science.
like he probably
Yeah.
thought it was rad. Like, and it's true.
Yeah.
It's just like I don't know. We won't know until the movie comes out, obviously, but
Well, it's
someone did say that like this trailer just looks like someone took a bunch of previous Tom Hardy movies and stitched them together.
Yeah,
Yeah, and I
that's
think-
another thing. It looks a lot like that. So
Well, on the note about David Bowie and even with Michael Fassbender with Assassin's Creed,
mhm.
I feel like those two particular examples are about the creation being centered on the actor themselves. While I have hope that Venom is going to be like, all right, we have this actor, but we still have a strong script. Like, I am
Right.
nothing but hopeful for it. But I feel like with Assassin's Creed and even with Omicron, the Nomad Soul, like it was it was like, oh, we've got these guys. All right, well, let's cater to all of their wants
That's
instead
fair.
of like, no, we have this and this is what we're doing. We want you in the role, but we don't want you to be taking over every aspect of the role. You know what I mean?
That's the thing. Like, so for me, I don't care about Assassin's Creed. So for me, it was important that like Michael Fassbender has a lot of built-up goodwill from me. Like he can mess up 1,000 times.
That dude is like the best part of the Ridley Scott Alien movies. So
Yeah, and he's the best part of First Class and Futures Past and Apocalypse.
that little scene with when he's in a bar in First Class is like
Oh
the
my
best part of
god,
that
I
movie.
love that fucking sequence.
It's
Yeah.
so good.
So he has enough built up that like I was willing to accept that Assassin's Creed might be good because of him. I'm the same way with Venom. I'm anticipating it because Tom Hardy, he's never let me down. Like Taboo wasn't great, but it wasn't bad either.
It's not bad. It's like there.
I
Yeah.
started Taboo and didn't finish it because like it's a slow moving show, and like the day I started watching, I was like, I don't think I can do this right now.
Mm-hmm.
I never picked up that show because anytime somebody talked about it, I was like, wow, people got real interested in that National Geographic show about people hanging themselves by hooks. because National Geographic
Tom
had a
Hardy
show.
showed up? That's so weird.
Exactly, like National Geographic had a show called
Here's
Taboo
my-
that
here's
was
my
all about
other-
odd
my-
things.
My other concern with Venom is the director, because Ruben Fleischer is
Inconsistent at best.
extremely well. Okay, let's just like he did Zombieland. Everyone loves Zombieland.
Yeah.
And then no one liked anything else he did after that.
What else has he done?
To be
after that?
But like, wasn't
be
Gangster
fair-
an
Squad.
adaptation?
He did Gangster Squad.
That movie's not entirely his fault.
Yeah,
Um,
I thought Gangster Squad was. Oh no, I'm thinking the TV show that what's his face who did the first season of The Walking Dead.
Right. No, yeah, you're thinking of the one with with
John
Frank.
Bernthal.
Yeah.
With the
um,
tank.
Yeah, but yeah.
The heavy.
Yeah, but yeah, like I remember hearing stories about behind the scenes of Gangster Squad, and he's not the reason that movie failed at
No.
all.
He's not.
There was a lot of behind the scenes stuff that kind of fucked him on that movie, if I remember correctly. Excuse my French. But yeah, like, so there were other factors, and also they had to change the rating of the movie. It was originally going to be R. They had to reduce it to PG-13 mid-filming,
Oh, that sucks.
which
Why would what?
which will fuck
What?
any movie. I don't care what movie it is.
Yeah.
If you have to do that.
It tanked Expendables.
Oh, no, it was R, but they had to reduce it. That's right. The MPAA didn't. They wanted to give it an unrated.
Wasn't there contention over Deadpool over that? Like, that movie came close to being PG-13.
I think so. Yeah, I think that
movie
was.
I think
half
initially,
of the work.
Yeah.
initially they wouldn't budge. There, it was like, it was. I think they wouldn't. They didn't want to pay for a rated R movie. And now it's like, and it broke records in countries I didn't even know had theaters.
Yeah, yeah. And also, Gangster Squad is a WB movie, and I'm not gonna belabor why that's a
Oh,
thing.
yeah.
Oh,
Huh,
we'll,
not shocking.
we'll get to them.
Uh-huh.
Oh, God.
Jesus.
Now, like, I love Zombieland. Like, this dude's obviously capable of doing like an R-rated film, but like he's completely untested outside of that.
Yeah, yeah,
But I mean, like, so was Scott Derrickson. But
yeah. I mean,
we're also
Good
comparing
point.
like the MCU machine to Sony's fucking ball in a cup.
Well, that's the thing. I feel like the MCU, like, they've been able to actually recognize actual talent
right.
and pull it and hone it and turn it into this amazingly well-oiled machine.
Yeah,
Wow.
you guys remember Mark Webb? Where'd he go?
Yeah, but like the problem with Sony is that when they have something good, they don't know how to use it correctly.
No.
Like, they had Paul Feig direct two of the best R-rated comedies of the last 10 years. Period. Bridesmaids and The Heat and Spy. Three of the best R-rated comedies of the last 10 years. Three of the best R-rated comedies of all time, I would argue. And then they make him do Ghostbusters for PG-13 with actors that he doesn't really know all that well.
Outside of Melissa McCarthy.
Yeah, and then, guess what happened? The movie fucking tanked.
Yeah, and like as capable as he is, he didn't help the situation afterward by like trying to spin it back on the audience. I'm like, you're gonna lose that fight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I guarantee you, they've got more Venom than you do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So like, Sony doesn't know how to do things, and when the best movie you've released in the last 3 years or so is directed by Edgar Wright, and the rest of your movies are all trash, we have to assume that the Edgar Wright movie was good because of Edgar Wright, and that you're just a shitty studio. That's the only conclusion that we can come to.
Sony's film division has been the punchline of jokes for like the past 4 to 5 years.
Yeah.
Well, it's the leaking of all those emails didn't help them. Like,
oh my god!
That
No,
just
if anything,
told you everything about them.
Yeah, and we've talked to death about that. Like they're a bunch of out of touch troglodytes.
Yeah.
Like they don't understand what's in their lap. Like maybe they did when they had fucking Tobey Maguire and God damn
Raimi.
it. There we go. Why do I do that in this show? And Sam Raimi were hanging around, and then they fucking drove him off.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah, like they're not very good at. I don't know. I don't think they're good at recognizing talent. I just think they're not good at recognizing talent and keeping talent.
Right.
Yes.
Well, yeah, I feel like they probably have a very hostile behind the scenes
Holy shit, probably.
Well, I mean, I've
going on.
I've shared the stories about my friend who interned at Sony, right?
No, I don't remember.
Oh man, okay, this will crystallize the entire process around Spider-Man. Okay, so right before Amazing Spider-Man 2 was going to production, my friend is an intern over there. I won't say his name. I don't want to fuck his, he I guess he was present during like a meeting, and I think he heard Avi Arad. They're discussing roles for actors for Electro.
Oh, well, you've just thrown a lot of. You throw a bag of cats into the situation. A bag of angry cats.
Avi Arad was like Channing Tatum, and I guess his son was like, "Are you fucking insane? Why?
For who? For
Electro?
What the fuck?
Yep.
What?
Sure.
I mean, here's the thing.
He also
Tatum as Electro.
I guess he was also tasked with like tracking down like Mary Jane source material, and he got all this stuff together, and they just fucking cut the character out. He was pissed.
Yeah.
Poor Shailene Woodley cannot fucking win.
Yeah.
I can't believe they fucking did that to her. Did you even film anything?
They filmed an entire sub-story involving her.
And they cut it out. What the fuck?
Yep.
She was a big part of the movie, and she's just gone. It's just...
Yeah, because they'd even said like, oh, we plan on incorporating that into Amazing Spider-Man 3, and then it's like,
oh,
we saw the returns on Amazing Spider-Man 2.
They didn't make us care about Gwen Stacy's death, and I didn't feel a fucking thing.
I cannot remember like half of Amazing Spider-Man 2.
So you don't remember
never
when the
watched
spider
it.
web formed a hand?
Into a goddamn hand.
Oh God,
kidding
what?
me? Are you kidding me?
I need to watch this movie again.
Wait, Eric, have you not seen that movie?
No, I only watched the first one, and I was like, that's enough.
Okay,
That's
here's
enough.
That's
Here's
not
an
even the
abridged-
bad one. That's the
No,
That's
and
the
that's
decent
why
one.
I was like, that's not enough.
I still think the crane sequence in the first movie is breathtaking. Here's an abridged version of the third act of Amazing Spider-Man 2. Spider-Man fights Electro. Electro makes dubstep. That's not a joke. That
No, I
actually
know.
happens.
I heard.
You betrayed me.
He just beats Electro offhandedly, and then Billy Idol flies in on a glider. I'm sorry. I mean Goblin.
Covered
now
in
it's
shit.
The movie, covered in shit and armor. He just decided he would put on that he found his dad's garage, basically. Because Norman Osborn is killed in the first 10 minutes of the film.
Yeah, he's got the cancer.
He's got super cancer.
I have goblin disease.
I have cancer that kills me very
I
aggressively.
hate you, son. Here's my life's work.
Ugh.
So Goblin shows up, and they fight for about 90 seconds, maybe even less. And then Goblin fucking drops Gwen Stacy down a bell tower, and then Peter goes to grab her, and he shoots a web at her, and it makes a little fucking hand in slow-mo.
Oh, fuck this movie. I gotta watch this again.
My favorite is when Gwen is like, Harry, Is that you in there? Also, by the way, Gwen Stacy and Harry have never met throughout the rest of the movie. They've never talked.
Cool.
They've never had a conversation. And Harry
They're
replies
best
to her,
friends. What are you talking about? They're best friends.
Harry's
And then
dead!
The web grabs her, and then she fucking hits the pavement with a really gross smack.
Oh,
They give it a sound that's so gross. It's so bad.
There's
Great.
They
somebody
even fucked that up.
somebody actually made this hilariously dark video. I'll track it down when we're done. It's so fucking funny. This dude he's in a Spider-Man costume at his computer, and he's kind of like, he watches it and he goes, all right, let's speed it up. Speeds it up and he listens to the sound. He goes, it's kind of rhythmic, and then plays it over and over and over and over and over and over again, and makes a fucking beat out of it and starts singing over it. And then at the end of it, he goes, I'm not weird.
So they couldn't even get the Gwen Stacy storyline right. The one, like her death, which is one of the most important parts of Spider-Man's history. They had to make it crystal clear that she died because she hit the ground, not because Spider-Man's web either broke her neck or...
And her showing her hit the ground really kind of takes you out of the moment, because you're like, she hits, the sound happens, you're like, ugh!
Mm-hmm.
It's really graphic. You're like, oh my god, that's Emma Stone!
She was dating Andrew Garfield at the time, so I'm sure they were kind of like, all right, let's do this.
That's another example where we might need to break our 10-year rule, because Jesus Christ, that movie.
Fuck.
Oh, that movie is so worth.
Oh man, I'd be going into it with fresh eyes. It'd be so much fun.
Mm-hmm.
It is. And here's the problem: that movie has the best Spider-Man costume to date.
It really does.
That was the thing. That was the thing that made me want to watch it, and then I started hearing from people I trust, and I'm like, okay, I'll enjoy looking at the pictures of the costume.
I also forgot that the ending includes a
Paul Giamatti in the Rhino outfit.
It concludes a 4-minute fourth act where Spider-Man quits and unquits
within like 15 seconds.
Within 2 minutes. And then, the movie ends as he's about to fight the Rhino, and in credits. And I was
you mean the thing that was prominently featured in the trailers?
Yes.
I really am remembering how much I hate this movie. I really am.
No, what are you talking about? It's not, from the descriptions, it sounds like it's the best movie of all time.
And here's the thing. It came out
sounds like
so close to Winter Soldier. So close. That's what made it worse.
Oh my god.
It was like
Yeah.
it was like
really
being
did.
spat in the eye. Like I remember getting out of the theater of seeing Winter Soldier and being like, what the fuck is going on with Sony right now? What the fuck are they doing? What the fuck is wrong with them?
Here's the other thing about Amazing Spider-Man 2. Oh fuck, I lost it. Damn it, it's gone. I had it, it's gone.
Well, going back to what you were saying about how Winter Soldier came out around the same time, Winter Soldier borrowed elements from a lot of Captain America storylines, but it still told its own original story and was able to mop the floor with something that Sony should have had in the bag so easily.
Yeah, okay, I remember it now. Amazing Spider-Man 2, Electro is kind of my guilty pleasure because I really enjoyed the presentation around him.
You mean when his teeth grew together?
Oh, no, not
that?
That's stupid shit. But I am one of the few people who like Hans Zimmer's score. That's
it's a good
devoted.
score.
It's really cool because they incorporate what could be internal monologue from Electro into the music.
Interesting.
And it's
I
almost
thought
like
that was
lyrics.
cheesy, but I understand other people liking it. I thought that was the cheesiest shit that I'd ever heard.
Well, here's the thing. When you listen to the lyrics, you're like, this is the stupidest thing ever. But the idea I really like, because
yeah.
The lyrics are, he lied to me, he hates me.
They're so dumb.
Well, actually, there's a before
Is
that,
he Mario?
He forgot your name after you met him on the street once. What are you talking about?
Well, I mean, and the part of the music I really like is that as he's coming up to Times Square, instead of just flat out lyrics, it's just whispers, and it's words like paranoia, self-destruction, stuff like that. It's just words that would be in Electro's head or feelings he might have at the time. It's a little heavy-handed, but I'm like, that's kind of a cool idea.
It's a good idea. It's not done well at all. But
So it sounds like that's a microcosm of the entire movie.
Kind
it
of.
sounds like a good idea, but it's not done well.
That, and they modulate the hell out of his voice when he gets really angry, which I thought was cool.
Yeah.
I think the louder he speaks, he starts there's electronic crackling in his voice.
Well,
yeah.
It's a shame because I feel like Jamie Foxx, I'm not sure what character he should play, but I feel like he could be really well used in a superhero movie.
Yeah.
And I imagine his experience with this has completely soured his opinion on doing
probably.
any superhero movies going forward.
Look at what they. There's like an elevator scene where he looks like the doofiest motherfucker on the planet, and I'm like, what the fuck did they do to him? Like,
Well, yeah,
It's something that-
pre-Electro,
It's something that belongs in Schumacher's Batman movies.
yeah,
It really
it's just
is.
so fucking
Actually,
disrespectful and like.
he looks like a character from In Living Color before he becomes Electro.
He
From
does.
everything I
He
saw
does.
of him.
He looks like a fucking Mad TV character.
God damn it.
But I think we're done with Venom.
Yeah.
So let's
We've
move on
gone
to,
very far from it.
We could
let's move
release
on to
this as
stuff
a episode all its own, so let's just.
Yeah. Let's go on to stuff that actually made us angry.
Oh wow.
Oh.
Well,
Fucking,
so
well, we
Warner
have-
Brothers opened the floodgates then.
Yeah, they
God,
did.
What the fuck, man? Like,
So
here's
okay,
the thing.
that's
Like, I said a while ago, like Warner Brothers logo is slapped onto like a lot of my current favorite games.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a studio that gave me Mad Max, and lots of other stuff. However, lately, and people seem to be, we've discussed it, people seem to be throwing it on DC's face. I'm like, there's no DC Films division. This is not their fault.
There is no.
it's all-
I've used this description so many times. It's a closet with
It's a broom
papers in it. It's
It
a,
kind of. Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
a machine. It's not Marvel Studios is its own thing that has a boss that happens to be Disney.
Mhm.
DC Films doesn't exist. And the fact
Yeah.
it's Warner Brothers, the fact that they just keep, I don't know what the fuck they're doing.
I don't
The
know
Why
DC
either.
Film Division is like one of those PO boxes that you just like
Right.
toss letters into.
Yeah, and
Exactly.
like
The DC Film Division is Hans Moleman holding scripts going, I have something,
Yeah.
and Warner Brothers just pissing on him.
Yeah.
Kinda, yeah.
We'll start with the fucking Joaquin Phoenix announcement, which, like, here's the thing. In any other universe, if someone came to me and said, hey, Joaquin Phoenix is going to play the fucking Joker, I'd be like, are you kidding me? However, I'm sick of the Joker. On screen, anyway. I'm sick of him.
Yeah.
That said, okay, if this was the recasting Jared Leto, actually no, I would actually be okay with that. I don't know, like I'm sick of the Joker too, but the idea of Joaquin Phoenix playing the Joker is enough for me to not get angry at that story. I'm more pissed off by the Lobo story, like a
Well, the
thousand
Lobo
times.
Make any goddamn sense to me, because that sounds like something that someone come up with in, like, a parody headline generator.
Right, or in like
It looks
in,
like, that
in
sounds like something that someone
2009.
come up with in 2001.
Right.
I don't.
Is this
Does
if
Michael
the-
Bay have children? Does anybody know?
I don't know.
No,
All right,
here-
well, the scenario in my head, he has a 16-year-old son who's super edgy and just discovered Lobo and is like, Dad, you should totally do a Lobo film. He's like,
Okay,
huh?
here's
Here's
my theory. Here's my theory. Michael Bay got a phone call from WB, and they're like, "Hey, you want to come make another hollow adaptation for us? It's for Lobo." And he said, "What the fuck is Lobo?"
Okay, so
Whatever you want it to be.
And then he saw it and he was like, I can make everyone audition in bikinis.
He's
for
like,
this.
"Oh,
Yep.
he smokes
Yep.
cigars and grabs his dick. I can do this."
So my guess is that this comes from The Rock. If this comes from anything, if anything leads to this project, it's The Rock being involved in the DCU, and the fact
But
that
he's
they're
Black Adam.
and they're very good friends.
I mean, is he though?
I don't know.
No, not at this point. No.
What, yeah, you're right. What the? Wait,
The
no,
Rock
that
was the
movie is
only-
apparently filming, isn't it?
That movie has had a. That's the weirdest thing, where it's like you had an actor locked into a role years before a movie even materialized.
Right, and they're giving him his own spin-off movie. He's not even going to be in the Shazam movie.
And when was the last time you heard anything about it?
A while ago.
When he took a picture with Henry Cavill and people got really excited.
Yeah. Well, so they confirmed that. I think the basic idea is that the plot of the Shazam movie leads to Black Adam being unleashed in some way, like
Okay.
because Mark Strong is the villain, and I think he's searching for Shazam, if my understanding is correct.
Poor
I
Mark
don't.
Strong.
Yeah. So many thoughts. But no, like I don't know. Lobo sounds weird to me.
Why the fuck? Like, Hunter doesn't give a shit about Lobo, so it's easy for him to ignore this. I don't give a shit about Lobo either, and I don't think anybody else does.
No.
I mean, Eric, you had the hottest take. You're like, fuck, Lobo's terrible and deserves Michael Bay.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't agree with that.
How do you? But that's the thing. I don't agree if it's going to be Michael Bay who actually can make a good film, which he can.
True. He
But-
can.
Oh no, here's the problem.
But it's Lobo.
No, okay, so
Exactly.
here's the thing.
Here's the other side of that, is that we have 5 movies that prove that Michael Bay doesn't give a shit about adapting something with any sort of soul.
No, okay,
I
so
watched-
so I know a little bit about this. So I, in my younger years, listened to commentaries with Michael Bay, and he, you won't believe this, he truly believes that he is making movies that will inspire the next generation
Actually,
of
you know what?
filmmakers.
I can believe that. I can believe that he believes that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So he's making movies. He's essentially saying Transformers are what happens when he tries to make movies for kids. Which
Look
tries
at this
to make
thing's giant
movies-
balls. Look at
Yeah,
this thing's
and-
giant balls.
Which-
look at this cool comedy relief. Oh, he's dead.
Mhm.
Oh, look at these racist robots.
Which leads me to the conclusion that he thinks he's talking down to them. He's doing the thing where you write things for kids in the Minions style of writing for kids.
That's what it is.
Oh my
No, that's
God.
exactly what it is.
Here's
It's
the
a form-
worst
it's
part
a
of-
form- Oh, go ahead, Hunter. I'm sorry.
Here's the worst part of all this, like in my like in the way I'm thinking about Michael Bay. Michael Bay is like a piece of shit by all intents and purposes, right? Like he's not a good
Yeah,
person.
no, he's not. He's not.
Yeah.
So, in Transformers 2, there is a shot of Megan Fox on a motorcycle that goes on for like, let's say 30 seconds,
Right.
and it's so fucking masturbatory and like
Well, the story
inappropriate.
about the story about her audition was like
Oh, go
the
ahead.
story
go
about
ahead,
her
go
audition is like she showed up to his house and he made her wash his car or some stupid shit
Yep.
like that.
The third Transformers movie opens like I watched it because I got my son on Blu-ray for Christmas years and years ago because he liked Transformers movies. So I was like, all right, I'll watch this piece of shit because I just want to watch something that has big explosions and could be fun.
Yeah, you want
The
something blow up.
exactly. The first 10 minutes of that movie is Rosie Huntington Wheatley, I think her name is,
Oh yeah.
walking up the steps in her underwear.
Yep.
Like it's not 10 minutes, that's exaggerating, but still
Also,
like
they call Megan Fox a bitch in that movie.
Yeah, they
Like,
do.
what
Yeah.
the fuck?
Okay,
Yeah.
to be fair, you gotta remember the context. She was fired for comparing Michael Bay to Hitler.
I mean, it's true though.
And it's a Steven Spielberg produced film. Yes.
right, and
that's-
Michael
that's
Bay
a
is
real big
also
fuck up.
yeah. Michael Bay is also Jewish, so
Oh, he is?
yeah,
I didn't know that.
yeah, he is.
Okay.
So I
Okay,
mean,
yeah,
well,
so
then
he shouldn't
fuck
be.
her.
He shouldn't be Hitler then.
damn it, that's certainly a
Yeah.
position to take.
Don't do that, Michael.
Maybe.
Imagine that. Just look at him going like, "Stop that! You're Jewish."
God damn it.
I'm sorry,
I'm sorry. I'll put the mustache away.
God damn it, you beat me to it.
He-
Bad joke, everyone. Bad joke.
I want to
Why-
say a
like-
joke, but I'm not going to say it because no thanks.
Look what fucking Michael Bay did to Ninja Turtles. Like he should not be making these.
Well,
I-
okay,
that
it's not-
wasn't
see,
directly him.
it's
yeah.
not. But at the same time, look what he had his hands on it.
And
Here's the thing, like
it-
that was a director of what is it, Jonathan Liebsman, who directed
Right.
Battle Los Angeles. I like Battle Los Angeles.
Yeah,
I
it's a
did
good
too.
film
I
about
did
mushroom
too.
aliens.
It's
Yeah,
kind of like it's fucking weird and like the aliens are kind of creepy and it's never boring. Like there's shit always happening.
Yeah.
And I like the idea of like it's some people kind of they're like, oh, it's too fucking geared toward military propaganda. I'm like, what?
No, the only
If they fucking landed in France, it'd be the same way. Like,
yeah,
but for some reason, the shot of aliens coming out of the ocean and gunning people down is fucking horrifyingly effective.
the only
It's a great
problem
movie,
with
but-
that movie is at the end the aliens are nerfed. That's it. That's the only problem.
Yeah, kind of.
Like they go
Um,
from like being next level Jason unkillable to like you just shoot them in the head and then they're down. Like
Was that their weakness, really?
I think it was something like they figured out like
There was a certain organ that's softer.
They had it because they're mostly mechanical because like their core body is basically just goo. Like they're basically just like these hunks of flesh. They're like kind of like Daleks, but just like they don't have like they're formless essentially.
right. Yeah.
So I think most of their limbs and stuff are artificial. So if you shoot them in the head or the heart or something like that, they go down almost immediately.
Right, yeah. So they figured out the silver bullet, but that still made them like they became so easy to kill compared
Yeah.
to when Like, I remember when they first try to kill one, it takes forever, and it takes out 2 other guys while they're trying to figure it out.
But the thing back to Turtles, like, that wasn't really Michael Bay. Well, it might have been, because Shredder's design reeks of...
Holy shit! It is
ugly-
very.
Edgelord.
ugly jagged metal.
I'm unconvinced that's him, and that's not just Paramount executives saying, well, this worked here, so let's do that here.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that
that's what I'm
feels
saying. Like that, it feels like, hey, make it more Transformers-like. And by the way, while you're at it, please steal the ending of Amazing Spider-Man beat for beat, okay?
Yeah.
It's the
And in the-
same ending.
Right.
In defense of Michael Bay, I think The Rock and Armageddon are 2 of the most perfect action
See,
films.
here's the thing. My favorite Michael Bay movie is actually Pain and Gain.
It's
I
pretty
wasn't
good.
a big
It's
fan of
really-
that. I
And
wasn't a huge fan of it.
Pain and Gain is nutty, and based on a true story. He kind of pisses on the original story because he turns it into a comedy.
Yeah, because the original story is horrific.
The original story is horrific, and like the movie takes these weird like pauses to remind you, like, yeah, all this really happened, and like they grilled hands, like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I
mean,
think if,
They
I mean,
could have. It's still
the fic-
horrifying.
yeah, the fictitious version of it, like the Michael Bay told, I thought was really well done.
Yeah, and I thought the
Because if you look at it from like it's told all through Mark Wahlberg character's
Yeah.
perception, and he's
Yeah.
a fucking lunatic. And like
Yeah.
the end of the movie where it's like he envisions himself as this like American hero who went from rags to riches, while the police are fucking tackling him to the ground and throwing him in prison. I thought was really interesting.
yeah, I
I
think
don't, the thing.
his worst offenses are anything from Platinum Dunes, as far
Yeah.
as I'm concerned. That's his
With a
worst
oh,
stuff.
go ahead.
And
With
what's the Benghazi movie? I like that.
Oh, the one with Jim from The Office.
Yeah, that was really good. That's the only reason that Jack Ryan is happening, because he was so fucking beef in
That
that
dude,
movie.
like, is getting a lot of play lately.
Yeah.
He's gonna be a horror movie coming up soon. I can't wait for it.
Oh yeah.
He's
I-
supposed to direct it,
Wait! Isn't he supposed to be playing Peter Parker in a new Spider-Man movie?
apparently.
Is he?
Ro-
Oh, in Spider-Verse, isn't he?
Yes.
Oh wow, that's a good pick.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah, that's a really good pick.
Like-
It was just something I just remembered out the top of my head.
for like 35-year-old I'm a teacher Peter Parker. That's perfect.
It's kind of spot on.
See,
Yeah.
and the thing with this news is that like I kind of like I said, Pain and Gain is one of my favorite Michael Bay movies, but like I watched some of Transformers 5, and
Why would you do that to yourself?
Oh God!
it came up in a
Is that
YouTube
the-
playlist.
Is that the one where Wahlberg has the or not Wahlberg, but the guy who's dating his daughter has the card saying like, "See, I'm
No,
allowed
that's
to date her.
4.
She's underage."
That's
Oh,
4. That's the
okay.
movie where
What
DJ Miller
the
dies
fuck?
in the worst way imaginable.
5 has the most 5 has irrefutable proof that Michael Bay gave up and said, "Here's your movie, you fucking nerds."
Mhm.
The sequence where Megatron is assembling his, as he calls it, his crew, and it's just this montage of the dumbest named robots who are all covered in spikes and garbage and chains, and they all have cigarettes and 90s rat attitudes. And their
Also,
names are-
Devastator's
their
there,
names-
and he sucks.
and
Did
their
they
names are, like,
undo the Transformers being made by humans from the 4th movie?
I have no idea.
That's a thing that they
What?
did. In the 4th movie,
No.
humans were trying to create their own Transformers, and that's how Megatron came back to life.
That is stupid. I hate that.
Well, yeah, and these
The
robots
worst.
in this montage are named like Gut Gnasher and Bone Grinder and Hardtooth and other stuff like that. I'm like, what are they all, orcs? Like,
Yes.
That would be better.
but all of them like roll out and they all have like fucking Cockney accents, like, oh, I gotta go Megatron. Ah.
So yeah, they are orcs. They're essentially
Right.
orcs. He just watched Lord of the Rings a whole lot and decided, yeah, that sounds good.
I can't believe
No,
I'm
what
saying
happens is he took a passing glance at Warhammer and was like, oh, cool.
I miss Transformers Revenge of the Fallen.
I swear to God, if Michael Bay comes anywhere near Warhammer, I'm going to like commit ritual suicide on this show.
But like back to actually my Lobo. Like this is blatantly WB trying to be like, we can have Deadpool. We can totally have Deadpool.
And they're not going to.
Right.
No,
No.
Because they're not
Because
going to hire...
What we do is this will be a carbon copy of the style of Deadpool. Save
Right.
maybe the fourth wall breaking. He's gonna be foul. There's gonna be
Right.
violence. He'll be self-aware.
Mhm.
And it's gonna reek of tryhard. Also, it's
Mhm.
fucking Lobo. Nobody cares.
Yeah, but in a couple years...
never a successful comic. It was never a successful comic like Deadpool was.
Okay, I said this earlier on I don't know where, but I was like, who gives a fuck what Liefeld thinks? Didn't Liefeld create Lobo?
No.
Okay.
No, Liefeld was deep in Marvel at that point.
Okay.
He
It
was
feels like a
working on New
Liefeld thing,
Mutants.
honestly.
It does. It totally does.
I mean, it feels like it's like the Man Thing to Swamp Thing type situation.
But
Kind of, yeah.
We got a Man Thing movie.
We did.
but it's a good movie. Apparently it's good.
I watched
like
it
Man-
on
I saw a
Sci-Fi
review of
Channel.
that I saw a review of that on some horror site years ago, and it was one of the meanest, most scathing reviews I've ever read in my entire life.
It's deserved. it's a bad movie. It's not good because here's the thing. By the end of it, I was like, "That's typical like sci-fi movie fare." Like, it blended in with their the birds knockoff or whatever that they have. Birdadactyl or what the fuck ever.
Birdemic.
No, Birdemic isn't them, but they had their own version of Birdemic. They had a movie with the exact same plot as Birdemic.
If I
What the
remember
fuck?
correctly, wasn't Man-Thing supposed to be released theatrically?
It
And
was.
Yes.
Whenever
was.
executives saw it, were like, no.
It was produced by Marvel.
I'm just imagining Kevin Feige just stumbling into the editing room and be like, "What the fuck are you guys doing?"
Yeah, like
No,
It's like
they
his-
just,
it's
they
like
just
his-
kept feeding him the
it's
most
his-
expensive whiskey they had.
It's his first day in the office. He walks in. He's like, "The fuck are you all doing?"
we just got our own office, and this is what you do.
Stanley's
this-
gonna hit us again if he sees this.
Stan comes through the ceiling.
I mean, I think
He's
our,
very
our
upset.
lack of concentration on Lobo tells everybody what we think of the idea of
I-
Lobo,
I
which
just,
is just
the entire idea is nonsensical to me because I don't think Michael Bay gives a shit enough about the comic book world to A, give us a good adaptation, and B, take the time to understand the nuances of character and properly follow through with it.
Here is the number one telling thing that they don't know anything about Lobo. If they think this is gonna be Deadpool, Lobo is supposed to be a parody of Wolverine.
Yeah.
They don't know a shit about Lobo.
Yeah.
All they
Yeah.
know, oh, he's kind of silly.
Yeah.
the only thing good Lobo ever did in the comics was show up in Hitman, and that was it.
I mean, he's playable in the first Injustice. I've never touched him.
Yeah.
God, I forgot.
I didn't
about that.
I didn't even care.
His whole thing is he wants to be the main man. So obviously he's pretty dated.
Yeah.
Yeah. He is.
Yeah.
He's more like Duke Nukem now than I'm sure he ever wanted to be.
And Duke Nukem has always sucked, in my opinion.
Yes.
So
And let's
Um,
let's put this out there. We do not want a Duke Nukem movie. Stop saying it on Facebook. You don't want it. I don't.
when it comes out and it's bad, it's your fault.
Yeah. You made this happen.
I mean,
Walks on
yeah.
screen and goes, "I'm here to kick ass and chew bubble gum, and I'm all
I'm
out
not
of
connected
bubble
to the real
gum."
world anymore.
And someone goes, "I heard this 25 years ago."
Yep.
Well,
Back
yeah.
when Evil Dead was a big thing.
Yeah.
God damn
And it
it.
wasn't
Evil
just
That's
a
still a
caricature.
big thing.
Yeah.
but it's
Evil Dead's
it's
back.
different. It's
Right.
different. It's
Well,
And
it's got
awesome.
nostalgia swapped
Ash
all
vs.
over
Evil
it.
Dead is on Netflix. Go check it out, everyone.
also
It's
they've
good.
decided to just embrace the comedy. They've just decided to just go all in on the comedy aspect and
Yeah,
just
for those
Yeah.
who haven't watched Ash vs. Evil Dead, I'm gonna tell you on it right now. In Ash vs. Evil Dead season 2, he gets trapped inside of a carcass's butt
Yep.
that's been opened up on an autopsy table, and then his face is jutting out of the open abdomen, and he keeps saying, "I'm in the butt. I'm in the butt." I'm in the butt.
God.
And then it shits on him, and then he's attacked by sentient intestines for about 5 minutes.
Yeah, it's very
What a great
reanimated.
show. What a great show.
Sounds good.
Fucking great.
Oh, Reanimator has a much worse scene than that.
Well, no,
Oh,
I know, but
God.
it's very similar to the when the intestines
Yeah.
open up.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, I'm the person who always say if they get the right people behind this, if they can make it work. But I also have to. There's a little part of my head that's like, yeah, but Deadpool can only happen once. Speaking of,
Yeah. Yep.
Mhm. Well, real quick before we jump on Deadpool 2, with Joaquin Phoenix being cast as
Yeah, I
Joker,
want to talk. I want to talk more about
Yeah.
this because this is bizarre.
like I'm I'm actually kind of for that.
Yeah.
But I'm
Not-
for it as much as I was when before we saw what Jared Leto looked like as the Joker. When I first heard Jared Leto as the Joker, I was kind of like, oh, that could actually be really interesting because
Yeah.
I mean, I think he has the potential to have a great role in him,
Right.
but it didn't work out,
It
and
means-
I'm still yelling for Willem Dafoe
Right.
to play an older Joker at this point.
And
You
in the
can't
end,
beat
it
Willem
means
Dafoe
less
is-
30
Willem
Seconds to
Dafoe-
Mars music. So
Willem Dafoe is slowly aging into Arkham Asylum Joker at this
Yep.
point. Anyway, have you seen the shape of his face? God, it's like
I
a
mean,
cartoon.
he's always been Joker-esque.
Here's
always.
and also my other thing with this fucking Joaquin Phoenix movie, I don't want Joker origin stories. Stop
No.
it.
No.
But we're getting
Stop
it. Like here's
We don't need it.
This is my take on it. They're gonna do it anyways. They don't care.
You
They
know,
have
this has to be some fucking suit of a fucking Warner Brothers.
No.
Like, we need a Joker movie. We
no.
need a
There's
Joker
somebody
movie.
in marketing who
They're
says if
They're
we
doing it in Gotham too. They're like, Joker's
Yeah.
coming. I'm like, why?
well, that's the thing. There's some marketing executive who says if we have a movie called Joker, if we have Martin Scorsese's name on it, and if we have the right actor, it will make money, and that's the entire reason behind this. That's the
No,
only
it's-
reason.
Yes, like Justice League and Batman vs Superman made money.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, they did. They made money,
Event-
but
that's
not
it.
as much as they wanted.
And
I mean, Suicide Squad was a fucking international success for whatever reason.
well, yeah. That
Well,
movie.
I think that's more to do with like Will Smith and all those
Yeah,
guys.
yeah.
It also connected with there are a couple audiences that went out to see that movie regardless of reviews, not just
They went
hardcore
out because
DC
they went out to
fans.
see it because the soundtrack sold them on it.
Well, also,
Yeah.
I mean, I won't point
Shout out to my
anybody
boy
out,
Rick Ross.
but people went because they heard about Diablo. A certain audience heard about Diablo as a character
Oh.
and
Which
really
is
liked that he
fine.
was there, and they
Which is
came
fine.
out in droves because they heard that he was a very good character. Similar thing happened with Will Smith's character. They came out in droves because Will Smith was one of the leads.
Also, all the Harley Quinn fans
Yeah.
had
Yeah.
to go see Margot Robbie.
So you had goth girls and you had those two other audiences that
No,
You can
you just
figure
had
out for
girls
yourself.
everywhere who love Harley Quinn.
There's also a weird contingent of film goers who jump into like the Marvel versus DC fray, and regardless of quality of film, will go
Yep.
see anything,
Right.
and will defend it adamantly,
Mhm.
and just don't
And
seem
not
to
know what they're
understand.
talking about ever.
Like I'm not saying like every Marvel film is good, but
No,
Jesus, even
'cause-
Dark World was 10 times better than what I've seen. out
Dark
of
World
DC at this point.
isn't even a bad movie. It's just boring.
No, exactly.
it's just
But, I
really
mean-
uneventful.
Yeah.
It's just Warner Brothers does not know what it's doing at this point, and it's ridiculously frustrating because you can see a company that's floundering.
It's almost like
And
they
they-
should take a break.
It's
So
almost
they
like they
say-
should just
yeah.
stop making movies.
Well, and
You
here's the
would
thing:
think.
like this ties into like something we talked about a few months ago, where it's like you announced a Gotham City Sirens movie, you announced a possible Harley Quinn Joker movie, and you announced a Joker origin movie.
Yeah.
Which one is it?
That's
you
the
can't have
thing.
all three
It's
of
all
those
of them.
things.
This
It's all
would.
of
The problem is these are all announcements that you would expect them to tell within the company. Like you would expect if you were working at Warner Brothers, you would know all three of these projects could happen. That's an internal thing. That's an internal bit of news. Once you realize that one of them is actually going to go into production and then you're going to start shooting, that's when you announce those projects.
Yeah.
They're just riding on the high of if we can get good media buzz on these projects if we announce them and hope that that means that somehow equates to a bigger box office.
And it's not.
It won't. We know this. You've seen this. If
And
you-
it's the proof is in the writing now because Justice League fucking
not,
failed.
Not even that.
Yeah.
There's no reason whatsoever. Batman versus Superman should not have made $1.2 billion at minimum. You have the two biggest comic book characters of all time. I love Marvel. We all love Marvel on this podcast. Superman and Batman are bigger than every Marvel character except for Iron Man and Spider-Man. Everyone.
I would even argue they're bigger than them.
Well, Spider-Man, I've always said, and I've used this many times, Superman is vanilla, Batman is chocolate, Spider-Man is strawberry.
Yeah.
Those are the three
No,
flavors.
I can agree with that. I can agree with that.
Those are the three flavors that are everywhere.
To kind of like prove that we aren't Marvel shills, like I know some, like if people hear this, they're gonna be like, "Oh, they're just defending Marvel because they like it." It's like Marvel comics fucking suck right now.
Dude,
Oh,
let me tell
yeah.
you how much of a DC shill I actually am. I'm wearing a Reverse Flash t-shirt. I go out in public in Flash hoodies. I own like I think no less than 5 Flash t-shirts right now. I vehemently defend their block of television shows. I read other comics. I have other fucking video games. Like
We're on a
if-
podcast that
Yeah.
started because of DCTV.
I'm not
anything,
Yeah.
I am the biggest DC shill you ever meet.
I'm
However,
not currently
it's-
reading DC, but all of my graphic novels are DC, with a couple
Yeah.
exceptions, or they're Vertigo. So,
However-
fuck off.
Yeah.
Marvel.
I would say
Marvel-
30 to 40% of my omnibuses, which if any of you know how much omnibuses cost, you would know that that's not a small undertaking. I would
It's
say 30
not.
to 40% of them are DC related.
I have
Yeah,
maybe
but-
5, and I'm wondering if I should just stop here.
Mhm.
Marvel
Don't do
Comics and basically anything outside of the MCU is underwhelming or bad.
Mhm.
Like
Yeah.
we're all fucking speculating about this Marvel Avengers game because it has a possibility to actually be great.
Yeah.
Because
here's the
Marvel
thing, here's the
sucks
thing.
at fucking video games too.
Here's the thing. There's been like no Marvel games outside of Marvel. What is it? Online.
Ultimate Alliance.
Yeah.
They're all
Ultimate
they've all been
Alliance is-
online games.
Years ago, though. So,
Yeah. And in
like,
between,
Yeah.
you've had movie tie-ins, which I barely count because they're just made to ship movie release, and they're
Yeah.
And they don't even do that anymore.
no.
like they don't
And
make
even,
the
like-
Wolverine game or the X-Men
Look at-
Origins
oh, God,
Wolverine
the
game.
Wolverine
Look at
game
what
was so
Sony's
good.
doing with Spider-Man. Like that is a huge step in the right direction. Giving
Yes.
that to Insomniac.
Yeah.
It's like Marvel learns from their mistakes. It looks like Warner Brothers does not.
Well, again, it's a studio, and I'm not.
Yeah,
Gonna,
it's a studio. That's the thing. It's a studio.
It's
Like,
Warner
that's what
Brothers,
it comes
and
out.
it's like Warner Brothers. I think has a lot of larger problems. Mainly that the person running it, he ran theme parks beforehand. So
Well, did you hear about this? I mean, the fucking George Miller lawsuit is kind of crystallizing.
I didn't hear about this, but I
Wait, what?
Yeah,
Is this the
they
bonus
apparently-
thing?
Yeah, I guess like there's
Oh.
money that was owed to him because I guess like through studio mandates, the production went longer than expected.
yeah.
And basically Miller and his crew were like, we were supposed to be paid for extra work we put in, and we weren't. And Warner Brothers is like, well,
yeah.
it's your fault. The movie took long. And George Miller was basically
that's-
like, excuse me, no, you guys told us to do these things.
They're
And
gonna
also
lose that
weather.
lawsuit.
Like it's
Yeah.
well documented that the weather
They are
changed.
going to lose that lawsuit
So
hard.
they had to
I
move
think.
from Australia to Africa for production. This is a well-known fact. This is documented. So
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it wasn't it because in an area of Australia that hasn't gotten rain in years, like all of a sudden it was most torrential
Right.
downpours they ever
Yep.
had.
Mhm.
Yeah, that
Record-breaking
film
rain.
was cursed with production faults that
'Cause-
had nothing
yeah.
to do with anything George Miller was doing.
yeah, because 9/11 happened, and then Record Rains, and then Mel Gibson couldn't do it, and then they had to move to Africa, and it just kept on building, and then he had to go do Happy Feet, and Happy Feet
Which
2.
is bizarre to me that he did those movies.
Well, there's a personal reason he went off and did children's movies for a while. I think someone close to him or someone in his family died in a car wreck, and he was like,
Oh.
I don't think I want to approach any kind of like vehicular violence for a long time.
Yeah, that happened when he was a teenager, but his kids were coming of age, and they were starting to be able
Yeah.
to watch movies.
Yeah.
But outside of all of these terrible issues that happened that weren't part of anything George Miller was doing, wouldn't Warner Brothers look at the acclaim that movie got and be like, all right, we need to fucking pay you
Yeah,
this money we owe
yeah,
you.
that movie, it's still acclaimed. People are
Yes.
still talking about it.
Dude, they brought like
Yes.
first of all, like the concept of a Mad Max movie being I mean, it was a successful for
Not about Mad Max.
like a Mad Max movie that came out and people were like, holy fuck, this is incredible, and it was brought up and it was at the fucking. Granted, I hate the Oscars, but it was at the Oscars, and that's an anomaly.
And it won multiple Oscars. There was a point
Yes.
that night where I was thinking, are they gonna steal this? Are they gonna steal the night?
It won 6. That's obnoxious.
That's 5 more
At that
than I
point,
expected.
everyone else should just go home. Honestly,
Dude, if you're in that audience, you've been like you're like you're a snobby Oscar multi-time winner. Like, look at this grandpa in a leather coat. Oh fuck, he won.
Remember that lady who kept on coming up? She came up like
Yep.
4 times. That was the
Yeah.
best.
Yeah.
Um,
But no, with Mad Max 2, that's the other thing is that it really wasn't it wasn't about Mad Max. Like
Mhm.
like you've said before, Connor,
But
like
all
he's a
Mad Max
tertiary
movies-
character in that
Mad
story.
Max is all except for the
Well,
the
except
Mad
for
Max
his
game.
origin story.
Yeah, and actually, it's funny because like Mad Max the film, the first one, he doesn't become what people
No.
think he is until the
Nope.
final 15 minutes.
He spends the entire movie like trying to avoid his responsibilities, and you know,
In fact, like most of that movie until he's burned to death is like about Goose.
mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's his film for a while.
Yeah, it's Goose's and like
And
the,
Mad Goose.
and the
Mad
chief
Goose.
is like there aren't any
Ayatollah
heroes
of
anymore.
Rock and Rolla.
Yeah,
Knight Rider.
yeah.
But yeah,
Such a
Max
good
is
movie.
always the person who the conflict is pivoting around,
Mm-hmm.
and he only gets involved because he
He
finally
has to.
he finally lets his guard down hard enough to be like, this will allow me to get out of my own head and probably cause make a little bit of a difference. So
It's almost like this is the direction they should have went with Superman.
Maybe.
Maybe
Yeah, like-
something similar.
Like
I mean,
Max
it's almost
is...
like this is what they should be doing with an Obi-Wan movie instead of a Han Solo movie.
Yeah.
But,
Ooh, don't get me
Well,
started on that. Okay, well, you gotta
Hey,
talk about
guys,
that at
don't
some
you love
point.
Benioff?
But
Don't you love those guys?
okay. No, let's do Deadpool because it's up. It's better, I guess. Happier subject.
Complete
God.
disclosure, like
So-
I'm not a fan of the Deadpool movies. I understand why people like them, and I appreciate that they're well made. But Deadpool movies are not for me. Like I can admit
No.
that right here.
But like,
Yeah.
but did you not get excited when Cable was on screen? Because I did. I was
I
like,
did.
yeah.
I did.
like,
I got really excited when they made a topical, very successful, mean-spirited dig at fucking Justice League.
It's not
That's
a fucking must.
insane
I
to
totally
me.
missed that.
Oh my god, what? It's when Josh Brolin shows up and he's got the green stuff on his arm.
Oh,
green stuff.
okay.
And he's like, "What are you kidding me? The visual effects aren't done. It's not a fucking mustache."
I mean, that could
Okay,
also be
okay.
that could also be a jab at Venom too.
God damn it.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
like I said, I understand Deadpool is a well done movie. Like I saw it with my
Right.
son, and he enjoyed it. It was great. I'm glad he enjoyed it. But yeah, it's not for me because it's not the Deadpool I enjoy, and that's fine.
Yeah.
It's well, here's the thing.
completely fine.
Deadpool is also an anomaly. Deadpool was not supposed to happen. It was put in February where movies go to die. They slashed the budget. They had all these fucking stipulations and provisos, and it came out and it destroyed everything.
They were also left alone. Lauren Schuler Donner, as far as I know, had no real involvement in that movie other than her name is on it.
Well, I'm sure she'd be like, "Why is he in red? Put him in a black fucking leather."
And put Channing Tatum in it also.
Yes.
Like,
This isn't the Gambit set.
yeah. But no, like,
R.I.P. Gambit.
so many things happened on that movie that allowed it to be not. Fox had little to do with the final result of that movie. They had very little to do with how that movie worked out, which is the only reason I think it happened.
But like, I think
I heard a story about actually them slashing the budget actually became one of the more successful gags in the movie because
Yeah.
the ending was this ridiculous shootout, and all those guns he brought were supposed to be involved,
Yeah.
and they were like, "Oh, you need to slash the budget by this much," and they're like, "Fuck it," he left the guns in the car.
Yeah.
which is pretty funny.
It led to
That's
a good
funny.
gag. It made a better movie. And Eric, I get what you're saying about like it not being your kind of Deadpool. Like I completely understand that, and I'm not in love with that movie, but I do remember watching it and thinking, this is much better than this ever deserved to be.
Oh yeah, totally. I cannot disagree with that at all.
That movie is. I like that movie a lot, and like
I love that movie. That movie made me laugh harder than any.
that movie, low key.
Intended comedy I saw in theaters. Like, it was funnier than most of the straight comedies I went and saw like the last few years.
Low key, Deadpool is one of the sweetest love stories of all time.
It is.
Oh, it's
Yeah.
a fantastic romance movie.
Yeah, it's great.
But what was I gonna say? There's an international trailer of Deadpool 2 that came out that shows Colossus and like all of them. Like he's in a movie, which is cool that they brought him back. But
Negasonic's back.
yeah, apparently Shatterstar's in the movie.
Yeah, exactly. I was going to say somebody pointed out on the Phantom Zone group that there's a picture of all of them when they're in the
six pack
plane about to jump off, and you can see Shatterstar behind whoever Terry Crews.
And he looks fucking ridiculous, apparently.
Oh god, yeah, you can see that stupid headgear he has on. I'm kind of excited to see that.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like a fun movie to me.
Terry Crews in a Deadpool movie, yes.
Yeah, I'm in.
I have so much respect for that guy. Holy God, I have so much respect for
Well,
Terry Crews.
yeah,
I love that Terry Crews has like streams of him building gaming computers. It's like my favorite
really?
fact. Yes.
I love the fact there's a YouTube channel devoted to editing his Old Spice commercials into songs.
God damn it.
Usually accompanied with Nintendo music. Like, I'm sorry, if you have not watched Super Spice Brothers 64 at least 5 times,
Oh no,
your life is incomplete.
All right,
I watched
thing
it.
about-
I
go
watched
ahead,
it
go
so
ahead.
many times. I had tears rolling out of my eyes by the time I was finished.
The crazy thing about Terry Crews is that he designs furniture, and he actually has furniture that's come out, and he makes some really beautiful looking mid-century design stuff.
I want to buy some furniture from Terry Crews, like a table, and like
You should look up his
or like
one
a couch.
His
And,
couch
like,
design is amazing.
I bring the couch home and he like pops out of the fucking middle cushion like, what?
What?
You got a couch?
It's Super Amazing Tiger. What?
Like, if I remember
Damn it.
correctly, he actually went to school for art and ended up
Whoa.
playing football. Yeah, like he is a very talented artist.
His new Old Spice commercial where he turns into a fucking motorcycle is the funniest thing I've seen.
God fucking damn it.
Screaming the whole time, it's so good.
God damn it.
No, Deadpool 2 looked great. I did like Deadpool 2 came out, I was like, cool, not worried.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's gonna be.
but Domino's black. I don't like it.
No,
that when they
okay.
make the
Well,
white
wasn't,
person
I'm
turn
sorry,
into a
wasn't
black
Domino
person.
fucking blue in the comics?
She had white skin. Like,
She was also a shapeshifter at one point.
oh god, really?
Yeah, no, that I'm mixing up my timelines. Actually, someone was posing as Domino once, and like,
Regardless, who
I know.
cares?
I know.
Who cares?
I thought I was making a point, but apparently not. I do. It the fucking Woody Deadpool dress up as Woody cracked me the fuck up. I was like, reach for this guy, and I was like, yes, that is funny. I get this joke.
I understand that reference.
I
Yeah.
understand.
I get this.
Yeah. But yeah, the trailer's funny. I don't know.
I don't really have much to say about it. I mean, we mentioned the Solo trailer. Do you want to go down that route for a few
No,
minutes?
I just have one last joke. I mean, my birthday is going to be much better this year with Deadpool 2 than it was last year because I had to see Alien Covenant on my birthday.
Oh,
So
No.
I had to see it.
no. Why did you have to do anything?
Because I'm a dumb movie fan, and I always have hope that Ridley Scott will make good. I'm
Here's the
wrong
thing.
so often.
Sometimes he does.
Yep.
So he has to have. It's like that one perfect like
Mm-hmm.
when you have jelly beans and you have your one favorite flavor and you're unsure if your favorite flavor is in the bowl anymore.
Right.
So you
I
can
don't
eat
know.
for it.
I don't like jelly beans.
Whatever, Connor.
It doesn't matter. Change the metaphor to whatever you want.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah. Okay, let's do Solo. So
I have never felt so little for a Star Wars trailer in my whole life.
You know, a Ron Howard Star Wars movie should make us excited, shouldn't it?
Yeah.
I should feel
Should.
something.
I have
maybe.
said it ad nauseum on Facebook, but here's the thing. I'm going to say it now so it's out there in the fucking ether of the internet so someone can hear it and be like, okay, we don't fucking need a Han Solo movie. We never needed a Han Solo movie. He is a character who is better when he is shrouded in mystery.
I agree with
And
that.
everything he says about his past is like, did you do that? Or are you swindling me because you're secretly a scumbag, but you're like a good kind of scumbag who I want on my side in a fight?
You're a scumbag who shoots Nazis.
How about this? How about we get a Lando movie? I would
Yeah.
be
Yeah.
I'd be okay with that.
over the moon for a
That
Lando
one
movie.
shot of Donald Glover as Lando is the best shot of that entire trailer.
I also say too, like the whole internet is like, what the fuck is our Obi-Wan Kenobi movie? And Disney Lucasfilm was like, here's your Solo trailer, and they're like, where's my Obi-Wan Kenobi movie?
I mean, here's the thing. If we go down the list of things that I would rather have wanted, it'll just be too long of a list. Like, I really, ever since Rogue One, I've wanted a movie about Gabriel Luna just doing, like, space spy shit. Because that's a genre that doesn't exist.
I think a movie about Vader after Mustafar is really interesting because I want to see how a guy lives after he has sabotaged everything that made up his life in favor of service to the Emperor, and afterwards the Emperor's like, "You fucking suck. I hate you.
I could see that. I could see that working.
Just
Like Vader's existence is miserable.
And like I've said this many times, I want a TV show about the early days of the rebellion with Organa just trying to keep things together. Like, imagine being Organa at that time. Imagine him.
Imagine watching your planet explode and then being like, all right, well,
he was on that planet, so
yeah, it's not that. It's like in the early days, he's watching the Emperor slowly consolidate power, and all he can do in the background, is hide as many people who are rebelling against him as possible, maybe send a few ships somewhere to get lost so that they're picked up by the rebellion, and maybe, funnel a few weapons, give a little bit of technology here and there to rebel forces, and that's all he can do. And also, he probably has to go to meetings with the Emperor and look him in the face and
or
tell
like
him
trying to hide the fact that he's funding the rebellion.
Right.
Essentially. Like,
from a Sith. That's the other thing.
Goddamn Darth Vader.
Just wait until Disney has their streaming service and they start showing Disney shows.
Actually,
or start making Star Wars shows.
So here's the thing. I'm kind of excited for Star Wars shows because, like,
depending on what they are.
Yeah.
Like, and see, here's the thing. Like, people have been swearing by Star Wars Rebels. I gave it a really, really fair shot. And outside of a few things, I absolutely cannot get into it. And I'm saying that as a grown man who still likes Dragon Ball Z. Okay?
Yeah, that says a lot right there.
I cannot get into it. One, I can't get past the redesign of the lightsabers. Why do they look like needles?
Yeah, that's weird.
Yeah.
That always
and like, I was really, like, they kind of got me hyped when they were like, Darth Maul and Obi-Wan Kenobi are going to have a fucking standoff. And the guy we got to voice Obi-Wan sounds just like Alex Guinness. And then it happened, and it was the most hilariously one-sided thing I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Probably because Obi-Wan was standing on an inch higher pile of sand.
God damn it. God fucking damn it. But no, like you said, like I've pitched this many times. Give me Logan meets Mad Max, but with Obi-Wan. But also, he can't use his Jedi powers because if he does, he's found out.
He doesn't have a lightsaber
until like the last 10 minutes, where like he's just left with a bunch of enemies, and he's like, "This is gonna be the worst day of your life."
And then he just goes full John Wick on motherfuckers.
Yep. He's like, "There will be no survivors, and none of you will leave this room knowing I'm a Jedi."
That's why
And like I said it.
Go ahead. Star Wars comics are actually where to go for that.
And that's why my Vader thing is relevant, because like the current Vader comic is immediately after Mustafar and picks up right as he's getting off the operating table, and their conversation goes beyond no. He gets up and says, "Where's Padme?" And like they show you what he's thinking about, and like he's remembering him choking her out, and the Emperor's like, "She's dead. You killed her, you dummy!" Like,
wait. He chokes her out?
He force chokes her.
That's how she dies? I thought she died in childbirth.
She dies in childbirth, but Anakin wasn't present for that. So in his head, and what the Emperor's telling him, he caused her to die.
Oh, okay. I was
but then like
I misremembered Revenge of the Sith.
But then he gets angry and like force pushes the whole room, and Emperor Palpatine fucking goes to town on him for like a few seconds and goes like, "If you ever use the Force on me again, I will destroy you." Like, and he's like, right now he's like, "You're so lucky I gave you this new body." He's like, "'Cause you're a miserable disappointment. I go prove yourself before I decide to replace you."
There's an omnibus that actually collects the whole run of Darth Vader out there. But isn't there one part in it where like he's on a planet and he's saying like, "There's this many of you, this many of you." It's like, "You're all going to die here."
He says this planet is full of what does he say? He's like, "This planet is full of rebels and dead men."
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
That and the one line he has against Luke, where Luke's like, "You killed my father," and Vader doesn't have his lightsaber out. He's like, "I've killed many fathers, son. You'll have to be more specific."
Yeah. anyways, Solo, not exciting. I do like the shots. I think the trailer is very beautiful, I guess.
I'll give it a try, but I'm getting
like
a heavy Rogue One feeling from it. I wasn't a huge fan of Rogue One.
Well,
I
you're,
like
you're
Rogue
just
One
wrong
because-
about that, but...
I like Rogue One
uh,
because Rogue One is a war movie where you're like, this is gonna have a sad ending.
Yeah, that's...
And it did.
the
And
only...
then it also had fucking Jason Voorhees Darth Vader.
it did. No, the only problem with that movie is he didn't get enough time to care about the characters other than Diego Luna and
Well,
Jin.
because they all fucking died.
Well,
Well,
I
think
like
that was my biggest
Chirrut.
problem with it.
No,
I like
if-
Chirrut and his friend.
If you I take these things into account. I take into account that the movie should have been an hour longer so that I could care about everybody outside of the leads. So I know that they were never going to do that, and they were never going to make an R-rated Star Wars movie or a 3-hour Star Wars
Yet.
movie.
Well, and
Yeah.
I like Chirrut a lot because like his scene where he's like, I am one with the Force and the Force is with me, and he goes and walks out on the beach and kind of like, it's implied that like he's not manipulating the Force, but because he's sensitive to it, the Force is like, all right, we'll throw you a bone.
Yeah.
And
Like
like he pulls up this miracle and doesn't get shot. I'm like, it's really interesting to see Star Wars show us like the Force isn't always manifested in people as a Jedi. Like it's sometimes you're sensitive to it and you can maybe like kind of bend it to your will for a few seconds at a time.
Yeah.
Kind of like what they tell you in the newest Star Wars movie, that like, hey, the Force isn't something that's exclusively used by the Jedi and the Sith. It's used by everybody. You motherfuckers, stop whining.
Chirrut may be a good guy, but he is not a Jedi. He's like a librarian.
And I'm willing to accept the what's the word? The limits that a movie can go to, the limits that the filmmakers are allowed to, and fill in some of the space on my own. So, like, to me, there's a version of Rogue One that wasn't made, but I can appreciate the version that was made, if that makes
Also,
sense.
like, I die for that cast. Like, Ben Mendelsohn, Mads Mikkelsen on the same screen. I'm like, shit, they're two intense dudes.
Everything was there for me to love that movie, and I need to give it another watch. Like, I haven't watched it since I first got to watch it through extra legal means. But just, I don't know. I think it was the fact that I knew that there were no real consequences to this movie.
Alan Tudyk plays my favorite droid. I think K2 is like my favorite droid in Star Wars.
Yeah, and
He's pretty high up there for me.
I guess the backhand he gave to Alan to Diego Luna was improv'd, and Diego Luna covers his face because he's basically about to crack up. Because I guess none of that was planned, and like fucking Alan Tudyk gave him a backhand in the mouth, and he's like, "Quiet, you!"
God damn it.
What else was there to talk about?
There's other stuff. I didn't actually see the Jessica Jones trailer. Did you guys watch it?
No, I didn't either.
Okay, admission time, confession time. Post Defenders, my enthusiasm for the Netflix stuff has gone down significantly.
Yeah,
Really?
kind of same.
That's
the only thing I'm excited for is
interesting.
Daredevil and Punisher at this point.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
disagree with all of that. I'm more excited after Defenders because I was on a downslope after Iron Fist.
Well, yeah, no, but I feel like Defenders was great at times, but also at times very kind of meh.
Yeah.
I mean,
Then like the damage control to Iron Fist was only so much, and I feel like his character at this point is just beyond the point of saving.
I completely disagree with that. I thought he was redeemed.
I'm with Arlen. I think what Defender did was prove that what they can do going forward with these characters is pretty great. Like,
Well, no, there was okay. Let me also say this. I said in the Defenders review, but like there's stuff about him in Defenders I liked, which one was they imply at the end that he'll help pay for what's her name's surgery. Yeah, he'll cover everything. And doesn't he also he also decides, like, I think after Luke kind of like drills into his head, like, you're a rich white boy coming to my neighborhood punching a bunch of colored kids around. You could probably do something a little better with your time. And then decides to go like use his own company assets. Like, I have lots of money and resources. I can probably do something with them.
Yeah.
And tries it the legal way, and then it just and turns into a boardroom brawl.
What excited me more about it was they finally figured out how to use Iron Fist.
Yeah.
Which is having
Bruce
him play
Wayne.
off of Luke Cage.
He's Bruce Wayne.
Not even that. No, have him play off Luke Cage.
Yeah.
Which is
Exactly.
what he's always done in the comics.
The fact that he's in Luke Cage season 2 just tells me that they're learning from their mistakes. Like, I can't read
and
that
they
any
should
other
fire
way.
Scott Buck. Oh.
Well, they did that.
But I
Thank God.
I said it before. Like, I'm over the hand. I thought the hand kind of panned out to be very, very underwhelming.
Well, I think they're over the hand too because they're not there anymore.
I'm over. I don't want Elektra to come back. I'm a little tired of her too.
Yeah.
So I'm just hoping. My enthusiasm's down, but once it's available, I'll watch the fuck out of it because Jessica Jones season 1 was great.
I mean, here's the thing. I've said many times I did not enjoy Jessica Jones season 1 altogether. I
feel like there's a middle section that really kind of drags, and then the ending, the last few episodes really come to life.
Yeah. So so the fact that even without seeing the trailer, I'm excited because of what they did with her in Defenders. I thought that they made me realize what I like about that character in Defenders, so that I'm more interested in seeing her in the future. But I didn't want to see the trailers because I'm against really just seeing trailers if I don't have to. If I'm not in a theater or if it's not for
that too.
certain movies.
I don't really Jessica Jones isn't something where I need to see a trailer because I'm waiting for a massive reveal. One, because I know Kilgrave's back, so I'm gonna see that
as a ghost apparently from everything I'm hearing.
That's what I figured. He was
Doctor
gonna show
Who's
up
a
like
ghost.
Yeah.
I figured he would be like how the Joker's represented in Arkham Knight, where it's just this constant mental torture.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, yeah, I'll watch it.
Yeah.
I
mean, I'm more excited
I
for
found
Legion.
personally-
So
I never saw a trailer for Winter Soldier, and I walked into it and sat down blind,
that's fair.
and left just having my ass handed to me. I was like, that was so good.
Well, that's the thing. The trailers that I saw for Winter Soldier didn't even sell what that movie actually was, which was the absolute best thing that Marvel has done.
Was Nick Fury being, I fucked up.
You better keep
Get
one
me off
eye
the
open.
grid.
Yeah, but I also I'm not gonna lie, Punisher kind of ruined Marvel trailers for me. It really did. So I'm not really. We're way past the days when the Daredevil trailers would just break my mind.
Electrify everybody.
God, I cannot wait for Daredevil to come back. Honestly.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm when Daredevil starts when that begins his return. That's when my enthusiasm is gonna blast all the way up. Daredevil's the only one that really hasn't disappointed me in a way that the other shows did, because we've talked about Luke Cage and how the end of the first season kind of spirals out of control.
You mean Power Rangers?
Yeah, but I get it. I've always said I understand the choices that they made, and Mahershala Ali was he was kind of in a big period of his career at the time. He was in 3 things at the same time. So I understand if maybe there was a scheduling reason for him not showing up again. But I also have to say, well, then why couldn't they just write the other half of the season better? Why couldn't they just do a better job?
Yeah, don't coast your way to the end of the season.
Mm-hmm.
Do it better.
And as I've said many times, maybe work with the writers of the other shows and see what they're doing, and have characters from Defenders show up as villains in Luke Cage season 1. Maybe that could have been a thing that they did.
I'm hoping that they learned lessons from Defenders and will actually realize, these worlds we're all trying to lead to being interconnected. Maybe we should continue that going forward.
Yeah, and actually, I think Defenders was the lowest viewed of the MCU Netflix shows.
It's because of Iron Fist, though.
It is totally because of Iron Fist.
It's because Iron Fist poisoned the well for so many people, me included.
Anyone who's still defending Iron Fist is wrong, objectively.
Well,
I don't see anyone with a rational head in their shoulders can get to the first episode.
Yeah.
And sit there and go oh, this is gonna be good.
Yeah. If you're not defending the 4 episodes that we've told you many times are good, you're a crazy person. There are four that are even watchable, and then the rest are just trash.
I'm Danny Rand. Get out.
Danny, how'd you get in the house?
But I'm Danny.
In happier news,
shooting that way, I'm at him with a broom.
Legion's coming back soon.
Yeah, it is.
So
I thought it would take longer for us to get Legion.
Same. I thought it was gonna be fall or next spring.
Well, now that the Doctor Doom movie's not happening, he has plenty of time on his hands.
But no, I haven't seen a trailer. I've only seen a poster, and it says "Where are you?" I can't remember his name, but whatever. David. Yeah. Where are you, David? I'm in. Whatever.
The first season was such a breath of fresh air for. I mean, bar none, everything that's being done superhero-wise, DC and Marvel. Like, it was so unique and so well done that I will see whatever they choose to do going forward.
Yeah, I mean, there's a reason that last year was dominated by the letter L for the first few months. And yeah, I can't wait.
It sucks because, like, as good as Legion was, like, it kind of restored it put faith in me that X-Men TV shows could work, and like The Gifted is out, and I'm just like, I don't care.
I've heard good things, but I just haven't gotten around to it.
Yeah, we don't have the time to do it, even if it is good.
Not at the time. I guess Runaways is out too, and I don't care about that.
Runaways I don't want a Hulu subscription. I'm not interested. Like,
beyond that, though, Runaways is for like teenagers. Like,
that's true.
Up, like the way it's being marketed, it's for teenagers.
Yeah, kind of like a Cloak and Dagger. I'm not open that up, but So Legion looks good. Well, how do we want to keep on going, or do you want to hear me talk about The Ritual? Because I'm okay with either one.
I kind of want to hear about The Ritual.
I kind of do too.
Okay.
What the hell is this movie? I don't know anything about it.
So it's a Netflix original. I heard about this like 2 weeks ago because I saw a trailer.
Big week for Netflix originals.
Yeah. I mean, we'll talk about that too, probably. But no, it's an original horror movie. If anybody's ever seen Southbound, the anthology movie,
which went from pretty good to not that great.
Yeah, the middle segment with the car crash.
Okay,
it's the same director. I don't like that segment because for those who haven't seen it, that's a segment where the main character from one segment becomes a victimized character in the next segment. It's the only time where a character transfers from segment to segment, really. And that segment, midway through, you kill off the character who was like the main character in the previous segment. So it's kind of a big fuck you to the audience. So I had a real problem with that.
See, I got really confused for a second. I had to go Google. You said Southbound. You said same director with this movie. And for some reason, my brain went to Southland Tales by Richard Kelly.
I can see the confusion.
I was like, that man hasn't done a damn thing that's made any sense since Donnie Darko. So not made any sense, but made any waves.
Right. But no, this is David Bruckner. So this is it's a similar movie because it's about like going on a road trip, but it's by foot. But it's a movie about people who are going out into the wilderness, into a creepy forest. So you automatically have to suspend some amount of disbelief. Because
are they in a Norwegian or Nordic area?
They're in like Sweden. They're in the Swedish wilderness. They're on this hiking trail, and this is the thing that they don't really tell you in the trailers. It's in honor of their friend who was killed like brutally in front of one of them.
Jeez.
Like he was killed in a robbery, and it's them trying to honor him because they do like a yearly vacation where they all go spend their 4 weeks of vacation, 4 mandatory weeks in the UK.
Must be nice.
Must be nice.
But
wow.
Yeah.
I mean, my life is kind of like a big vacation now. So.
God damn it. Yeah. But no, like they're going on their vacation that they always share. And he dies, and they go with what he was trying to pick, which is this hiking trail. And then what happens is one of them gets injured, so they decide to take a shortcut through the forest instead of around it. And creepy shit starts to happen. As they do in these kinds of movies. But it always reminds you of what happens at the beginning with the character who dies in a very real, tragic way. And it keeps it grounded in that drama, in the trauma from that they're all experiencing. And, so they're keeping it in this real drama while having these supernatural things happen around them. And there are multiple points where, as I said in the chat, they should have just turned around. They really should have. And it's like they haven't seen a horror movie, but I was able to go with it because it's very well acted, and it's very well shot, and when it's scary, it's very scary. I watched it in the middle of the day, and it was pretty freaky.
Oh damn!
So that's a sign of a movie that, if you watch it in the middle of the night, or right before going into the wilderness, it will be terrifying. And also, it's like we talked about in our last AD episode. I'm scared of the forest and trees and the wilderness.
Yeah, that's true. I didn't forget about that.
And that fear of, like, when you look into the forest and you think you see something, and maybe you did, maybe you didn't, and they play on that a lot in this movie. So it's like it was made especially for me, almost. So, but it's I would definitely suggest it. 'Cause it's a Netflix movie. I feel like Netflix kind of is getting a reputation for releasing movies that aren't quite great. And it's not amazing. It's not going to be your favorite movie of all time. Not unlike another movie that came out this week. But it's good. It's good enough. It could definitely be much worse. So.
Well, my horror kind of itch has been acting out lately, and I'm getting around to watching Insidious 4. I started it, but I had too much going on, and I put it in the chat. The only thing I think I got to the point where, like, this horrifying ghost, her fingers are fucking keys.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think she possesses you by sticking it in your throat and metaphorically unlocking the door.
That's horrifying.
Yeah, I mean, that was in the trailers.
Yeah, but still,
like...
it's the kind of thing that fucks with me.
Yeah.
I love Insidious's representation of ghosts and how, like, just the nasty ones are so nasty that I'm so glad they're fictional.
Yeah.
The man who can't breathe from Insidious 3, I think, is one of the most terrifying things I've ever seen.
Also, one of them's Darth Maul, or am I thinking of a different movie?
That's the first one.
That's the first one.
He's actually he is the least scary of the bunch.
He just looks kind of weird. That's the thing.
He's like a satyr, basically. He's got hooves and shit.
Well,
he's like a demon.
And with the first one, like, that one made such a splash, that particular demon or monster, whatever, just because the trailer did such a good job of, like, you don't get that reveal until the very end of the trailer, where it's like you see Patrick Wilson talking to whoever, and she, like, makes a horrific face, and then it turns back and you see him coming from behind Patrick Wilson. Like, that's what sold me on going to see the first one. So I wouldn't mind giving the fourth one a try.
Yeah, shout out to Patrick Wilson being on a bunch of ghost movies recently.
Yeah, because he doesn't care.
Shout out in general to him, because I think he's the most versatile actor that people forget about.
Yeah, true. I mean, he's a white guy, so that doesn't.
Well, yeah,
that doesn't help.
that doesn't help. But I mean, he played Night Owl in Watchmen.
Yeah,
and then he was also in that movie Little Children with what's her face from Titanic, and
he was also in the Joel Schumacher Phantom of the Opera, and I know this because remember how some ex-girlfriend made me watch The Notebook and The Crow ad nauseum, so I didn't even have to rewatch The Crow. I watched Phantom of the Opera so many times that eventually I knew all the musical, like, I've never seen the musical, the play, but I knew every song by the end of our relationship because I think we watched it like 10 times. And it got to the point where I just ripped the film the whole time, and Patrick Wilson plays Raoul, and he's a big old puss in that movie.
Yeah. There's also a weird, like, sci-fi movie that's supposed to be like the whole idea is that it's made in the 70s, but it's like a comedy. It's like a workplace comedy with, like, space characters who have, like, big mustaches and, like, like,
oh
really
my God,
loose-fitting
yes.
shirts.
Okay.
And and like
you
super
had big mustache.
and like super 70s, like, hairstyles or whatever. So yeah, it looked very entertaining. I never got around to watching it, but
This reminds me. There's nothing really much to say except that it exists. The Black Dynamite 2 trailer. It was a teaser.
It's very similar idea.
Really?
To that.
When did that come out?
Recently. It's a quick teaser. It's real quick.
Don't care. Need to see it.
Yeah.
So
Black Dynamite is one of the most hilariously surprising things
do
I've encountered.
we want to talk Cloverfield? Do we want to?
I think so.
Okay,
Yeah,
here we go. Because it's impossible to talk about this without spoilers. Spoiler warning.
Yeah.
This is your only spoiler warning. We're gonna fucking go deep. Cause...
Spoiler warning. There are multiple universes. That's clear.
And we fucked them up.
It's the only multiverse where one universe fucks up so bad that it ruins everyone else's stuff.
Right.
Yep.
Even Barry couldn't do this. So
I imagine like Barry is sitting down there in one of these universes, like looking up, going, "It wasn't me this time."
Like, all right, straight up, like the first, like my wife and I watched this the day after it premiered, like the day after Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
We got done watching it, and I was kind of like, that was okay.
Yeah.
But then, like, just talking to people about it and seeing the threads about it in the various groups on Facebook and online that I go on, it made me realize, like, while the film itself wasn't that great, what it introduced to the entire Cloverfield universe, for lack of a better term, is pretty fucking phenomenal.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
Yeah.
And I like the idea that, like, here's the thing. I have a built-in interest because I like freaky sci-fi movies that take place in a spaceship.
Right.
Yeah.
Where when weird shit happens, like, you don't have anywhere to go.
You mean
Yeah.
Event Horizon?
Oh, I love
Yes.
Event Horizon. And I like
Yes.
Pandorum.
Event
And-
Horizon, aka Dead Space.
That's also why I like
Pretty
Dead
much.
Space, because Dead Space is fucking horrifying.
Yes.
And I like this, and like the scene where they pull what's-her-face from the wall.
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
thought was harrowing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that is
Yeah.
the worst. Like that. Like I was uncomfortable, like physically. Like
My wife and I, when we were watching it, were just like, just put the panel back on. Just put the panel back on. Just do it. Just do it. Just let her be in there.
Another screams when she passes out.
Yeah.
No, but that kind of way of smashing two universes together, where there's not gonna be any order or any kind of niceness to it. It's violent and it's unnatural. So you
Yeah.
get these weird paradoxical anomalies that pop up, like
Mm-hmm.
oh, a fucker loses his arm, then God, that was funny.
Yeah.
That's my fucking arm.
I thought
Um,
the guy with the worms in him, that was just so fucked up. That was just
Yeah.
why was he all of a sudden just like a zombie?
because
the
the worms
worms in-
were talking to him.
Okay.
Like
I
the
missed that
worms,
part.
and like my understanding is that he might have been merged with the worms, like
Yeah.
Oh,
in
that
some way.
sucks.
So like there were worms in his brain talking to him, but they were also part of his brain.
Exactly.
and the fucking the collision put that, what is that key object, the
Mhm.
In him. Yeah.
Yeah.
The gyrosphere or whatever
Yeah.
it was. Yeah. Yeah.
And I first of all, I love alternate timeline dramas, like or any kind of drama like that. Like that's why I love BioShock Infinity, because of all the line about constants and variances between
Right.
universes. Have some things that are always gonna be the same, and some things that are going to be a little different, but kind of the same.
Yeah.
He never rose.
He never wrote.
He never rose.
This I thought was awesome, and the final shot is fucking great.
The final
Yeah,
shot is
the-
fucking amazing.
Also, that fucking monster's huge.
Yeah,
Like,
that's a mother, because I mean I don't know how many people know this, but Clover from the first movie is supposed to be a baby. That's
Yeah.
that's an infant that's been
It's a baby
separated
that
from
doesn't
its
know where
mom.
it doesn't know where it is, so it's just running its way through a city because it's fucking scared and angry.
Mm-hmm.
And we keep dropping missiles on it, so of course.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that doesn't help.
Also,
Hey.
I was kind of thinking. Oh, sorry, not to trample your point, Eric, but I was kind of
No.
thinking, today, how we don't know when a Cloverfield movie is going to be a Cloverfield movie. Like we know technically this thing's leaked, but like
Yep.
that kind of ties into the plot of this movie, because like it's just an alternate universe, so we
Right.
wouldn't know anything. Which
Yeah.
is
Well,
really-
yeah. Anything J.J. Abrams is producing at this point is going to have that, like, well, is this a Cloverfield movie? Is this
Star Trek
associated with
is-
Cloverfield?
Cloverfield.
There's a amount of criticism going on with these movies saying, like, why don't you just construct a entry in these movies from the ground up as opposed to retrofitting an existing film and slapping it into universe? And I think the reason is J.J. Abrams probably finds a little movie that he knows can but may not, slaps his name on it, does some edits, reshoots, and gives it a brand name that people recognize, so they'll go see it. And
Also,
everyone involved in it sees a little bit of success.
some of
Yep.
these
That's kinda
movies,
cool.
some of these movies might not have gotten made.
Exactly.
Like-
Exactly.
Yeah, I don't think that the 10 Cloverfield Lane would have been made without the Cloverfield tie-in,
Yeah.
or like would not
Well-
be as successful.
hell, even this movie, like that was my whole thing while watching it was that there was a weird, like, there's no other way for me to explain it. It felt cheap, like
Yeah.
as much of a production value there was in all of the sets and everything, there was just an underlying cheap feeling for the whole
Clover
movie.
looked good though. The
Clover did.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that, but I'm just saying the movie itself, it
Yeah, it
definitely
feels-
felt.
feels like a Netflix movie. Like,
Yeah.
does that make sense?
Yeah, I completely understand them pawning this movie off on Netflix, and then saying for the next one, yeah, no, that one's going in the theaters.
Yeah.
Especially
Which
if
is
they're
supposedly set in World War II.
yeah,
Yep.
it's really I'm of two minds about Donald Logue and his little speech, because it explains everything, but it's also so very convenient.
Yeah.
But I'm also like, okay, so this explains why they could make a movie set in the 70s or in World War II or in the future. You know, they could make a whole movie about World War II where Clover or the space whale creatures show up or some other creature that we haven't seen yet, which is what I'd actually prefer, creatures that we haven't seen yet, you know, because it could be anything.
I mean, quite frankly, I want to know more about those parasite bullshits from the first Cloverfield.
Well,
Those things that horribly killed Lizzie Kaplan.
those are just on Clover. Like Clover,
Yeah.
my assumption is that Clover and her species are from a dimension where they're
It's like fleas.
right, where there are planets that are just like gigantic and they're mostly water, and that's where Clovers are from. But those planets have some land on them. That's my assumption, and they just, like you said, they have like it's like a shark.
They're symbiotic.
They have like parasites on them.
Yeah.
Or like
Well,
lamprey.
it's more of a symbiote, I guess, is what you call
yeah.
it.
Yeah, a symbiote, huh?
Oh yeah.
It's all connected.
So
But
that
yeah.
is Cloverfield 5.
God damn it. God
I
fucking
would be
damn it.
surprised at this point.
One of the more humorous observations I saw was like, Cloverfield, viral marketing. 10 Cloverfield Lane, surprise announcement, 3 months to release. Cloverfield Paradox, announced on Netflix, out the same day. Cloverfield 4, J.J. Abrams shows up at your house and throws a Blu-ray in your window.
I'd be okay with that.
Variation I saw on that was Cloverfield 4, it's already on your phone.
Oh no, it's you two all over again.
Exactly.
How do I get this off here?
But yeah, I'm
one
excited,
of the,
I
one of
guess.
the more interesting things that I saw, and I know J.J. Abrams and the director of Cloverfield Paradox had said, like, no, it was just coincidence. But apparently, if you start the original Cloverfield at 18 minutes and 20 seconds, something like that, and Cloverfield Paradox at the same time, the point where the Hadron Collider essentially goes off is the exact same point that there's an earthquake that occurs in the first Cloverfield.
Right.
Oh shit.
But
Yeah, and it's-
does Dark Side of the Moon also sync up?
Yes,
Um,
it does. It
Like I
does.
said, it's just a coincidence, but it's kind of cool that it works
is.
like that. Like
Because-
if you start at the exact same points.
And this is something they don't make clear unless you really pay attention to the Donald Logue scene. Clover in this movie is not the same Clover, and
No.
they're not the same universe. I
No,
said
because
it.
it's like what 2028 in Cloverfield Paradox.
Yeah, probably. And then Clover from Cloverfield, it's like 2006.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a diagram on Bloody Disgusting that has, I think, like, it's really simple. It's crudely drawn, but it explains everything. Like, the Hadron Collider happens, and it starts blasting all of these universal anomalies all over the place across time and space, including time.
Yeah.
So, like, 20 years in the past, one of these fucking monsters doesn't belong there is going to spontaneously pop up, and then in
Yeah.
some other universe, like, aliens going to show up, like, how did we get here? Cool,
Yeah.
let's harvest the planet.
Alien space whales just show up and they were probably doing their own thing, and then suddenly they're on a planet that can't defend themselves. So they
And
just,
I think in Paradox, I can't remember his name, boyfriend guy.
yeah,
Boyfriend guy takes a little girl he finds that's kind of out in the carnage
right.
and takes her to a bunker that is nearly identical to the one that John Goodman has. I think, Cloverfield Lane. And my idea in that is, like, it's the idea of constant invariances. In one universe, that bunker was used as a sanctuary by this guy who found some little girl.
Yeah.
And in the other one, it's inhabited by a psychopath who basically forces some girl to stay with him.
Yeah. And
That was Go ahead.
I was gonna say that also if we assume that this is Earth 1, every other universe will be sort of a copy or a reflection of Earth 1. So if this universe... Yeah. So if Cloverfield Lane is Earth 4, let's say, then there would be copies, there would be shelters that look identical to it, almost. It's almost...
What I like about what this introduces to the series is, like, this can go on and there's no fix. Like, you've unbound the time and space continuum, and you have fucked things up permanently.
Also,
you haven't solved your energy crisis, so you're
Yeah.
fucked there too.
Yep.
and at some point, in what they've done with this is there's no reason that they can't do movies in the future that bring back cast members.
Yep.
There could be a movie down the line where they have Winstead, Gugu Mbatha is the name of the one from God Particle, and one of the leads from the original show up.
Or
Easily.
fucking Zemo show up somewhere.
Yeah, like any of them could show up in a future movie as completely different versions of the same character.
Herr Schmidt.
Well, we need more Daniel Bruhl in general. So.
Yes, definitely.
Which,
Back
by the
to
way,
the,
I didn't know he was born in Spain. I thought he was Eastern European as fuck. He's not.
That's how good his
I
Zemo
know.
is.
So I'm like, you're just like a European mutt. You can be anything.
Yeah, it's like Daphne Keane being British and Spanish. Like, what the hell?
Yeah.
One of the more interesting things I'd read about with the connections between Cloverfield Paradox and Cloverfield Lane actually is Donald Logue's character's name. I forget what his last name is the same last name as John Goodman's character.
Yes.
In Cloverfield Lane, which
Yeah.
I thought was great. That they have this crazy guy who's ranting and raving about monsters, and then Cloverfield Lane, it's the same idea, just to a further extreme.
Yeah, Howard Stambler and Lane, and then I don't remember what.
Oh, and like I like the idea that they could even be the same person in different universes.
Right.
Like,
He could be
Flash established, and this is different rules of time travel, multiverse, but like, you can have someone on a different planet
Right.
who might be the same as somebody else, but their name and identity is gonna be completely different.
Mm-hmm. Or he could be in this universe. John Goodman has a son because it is the future.
Yeah.
Yeah.
True.
So, yeah.
Well, and it's just the whole idea that nature abhors a vacuum, so there will always be something to fill in that version somewhere.
Yep.
Yeah.
Nature also abhors a paradox, so that's also why I like this. And that is a line from Legacy of Kain, Soul Reaver 2.
Yeah, but I'm interested to see what they do with Overlord, because this is the first time they're like jumping back in time, and again, like it would be interesting if they did a jump forward, and it's like what happens in a universe where they've known about like alien creatures for years, and they've just been fighting them forever.
Or what if you're in a universe where they are aware of what went on in the universe where all this got fucked up, and they have been working on a way to fix it.
Yeah.
Or
I
like,
mean, you can kind of go anywhere with this.
or they have an Avengers style event.
I don't
Oh,
think
boy.
they'll ever do that. Like, I don't think, even though I would, God damn it, I would watch this shit.
TJ Miller walks on screen.
I would love it if Elizabeth Winstead showed up at the end of like a direct sequel to Paradox, and she's like all battle hardened from fighting the space whales,
She's wearing an eye patch.
and she's like, "Come with me if you want to live." And then they open a portal to another world or something. Like,
He's all fucking
Holy shit.
ripped out.
Sorry, non-comic or anything we normally talk about related news, but I just saw that Reg Cathey, the guy who owned the barbecue shop in House of Cards, he just died.
Oh no!
The show I haven't watched, and I probably won't watch now.
Yeah, it's a pretty good show.
It is.
Even though Kevin Spacey's kind of a piece of shit.
Yeah, he is.
I-
That dude got his start on Square One TV.
Wasn't he in? He was in something Marvel related recently too.
He might have been.
He was
He
not.
was in Fantastic Four. He was Fantastic Four. He was the father of the Storms.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No. Oh, that guy.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry.
Oh, that
Oh.
sucks.
He's
He
been
died.
in.
He had to be in Fantastic Four, and he died.
God damn it!
Yeah.
No, he's been in
I
a lot
mean-
of other good things.
I mean, we
So-
talked a lot about Raul Julia in the movie dumpster episode we just did for Frankenstein Unbound, because he's in that movie and it's in 1990, so it's before he got to do Addams Family and Street Fighter. I say Street Fighter because like if you watch Frankenstein Unbound,
Oh,
like it's a Raul Julia. We're like, where's the energy? Like he's just
This is
phoning it the
like-
whole time. And then like we were talking about how if he gave the same performance he did in Street Fighter or Addams Family, this movie would be a fucking riot.
And like during
Uh,
Street Fighter, he was dying. Like
That's why I said, like, in 1990, like, Raul Julia was a healthy man at the peak of his career, and he just doesn't give a fuck during this movie. And you watch Street Fighter, you're like, he is literally being killed from cancer and is so sick. I think he had to be sent to the hospital multiple times on set and is having the time of his life on screen.
he's fucking hamming it up.
Oh
Yeah.
my god,
with,
he's
uh,
perfect in that.
I really wish we could watch that movie on this show, but we can't.
With Reg Cathy. Have you guys ever watched the show Outcast?
I have.
Yeah, he was on that. I totally forgot. He played the chief of police, but
Yeah.
that's actually quite good. I actually really enjoyed it. I don't know about you, Arlen.
I've only seen the first season, but I really liked it, and I think it did a couple things. I don't know if Kirkman handled the familial abuse stuff that great in the book, and I really like that book. I really like it.
Yeah.
It's one of my favorite books that has come out in recent years. But I think the show handled that stuff better. And it's weird because the show the first season ends right where I stopped reading. So I'm interested to see what they did with, or what they will be doing with.
Oh, speaking of that, real
two.
quick, I want to get into it because we haven't talked about it really at all. I finished Happy, the book.
What'd you think?
I liked it, but it's fucking crude.
Yeah.
And as I think about it, I'm like, how is this a TV show right now?
Oh, see, I thought you were talking about the comic. I haven't watched any of the show.
Oh, neither have I, because season one
Okay.
just wrapped, and I'm
Okay.
like wondering how it can continue. Because spoilers for anybody who's never read Happy, please don't listen to this if you're gonna read the book. Nick Sachs dies at the end of Happy.
Mm-hmm.
He dies having like stopped a pedophilia ring, and one of the kids involved is like a daughter he didn't know he had.
Oh shit, that
Yeah.
sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah,
he's
and Happy is actually her imaginary friend.
Yeah, Happy is her imaginary friend. And like the whole book, he is a irredeemable piece of shit.
Yeah, he's not a great person.
Yep.
He is terrible. And in one page, they managed to kind of make you come around to him.
Yeah.
But season one just wrapped, and I'm wondering if they're going to maintain the same ending, or if they're going to kind of maybe switch it up so they have a season two. I don't know.
I don't
feel like it would- I
understand
feel like
how
it would-
they can do more than one season of the show.
Exactly. I feel like it would work better as a limited engagement. But anyway, I just want to throw that in request.
Yeah.
I think we should actually wrap up. We're kind of at the 2 hour mark.
Yeah, I think we're good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nothing else to talk about really. Hey, I'm Connor. You have heard of me now at this point. Movie Dumpster's out. We just released our episode for not the Sony Venom, but the slasher movie Venom, and apparently I haven't listened to the episode yet, but I sound like I'm in physical agony throughout the entire episode because I fucking loathed this movie so much, and I guess it comes out very crudely in the
So-
episode.
I saw the promo art for this episode. And I immediately had Vietnam flashbacks. To this movie.
This movie is a piece of shit,
It's
and here's
very
the thing.
bad.
It came out in like 2004, and
Yeah,
it's
not great.
inexcusably terrible. It's one of the worst theatrical slashers I've ever seen in my whole life, and easily one of the worst horror films I've ever sat through.
Wow.
Yeah. Anyway, check out Movie Dumpster. We're on Facebook, Twitter. Well, actually, we're on Twitter presence kind of minimized, but follow us on that stuff.
You can follow me on Instagram at StrokeGodMillionaire. You can also follow my game collecting account Mode7 Games. I've been playing. I collect NES games for those who don't know, and I got 3D World Runner and Gyromite the other day, and it was pretty cool.
Yeah,
Even though I can't play Gyromite, but I can play 3D World Runner.
I showed Hunter an old school game store I found, and they had Mega Man X3 for $244.
Wow, that's about right. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, actually, Hunter, that reminds me. I'll have to run over to the local game store I have and take a look for you.
Yes.
AA Haro on most of the places. Y'all know me. SpaceColumbo.tumblr.com. Lost Horror Podcast comes out every week. Second episode of the Hitchcock double feature thing, whatever. Yeah, that should have come out the day that we were recording. Coming up is our Truffaut episode, so get ready to put on some pencil-thin mustaches and drink some real small coffees.
Wow.
Steel is coming out probably around the same time that this episode is out, so go listen to that after this. And we're going to have a CW episode, so that's 6 hours of Phantom Zone by the time this is out. Just go listen to all of it. Yeah, have fun.
I'm Eric Fedorchak. You can follow me on Instagram at Eric_Fedor. Floating around the Phantom Zone. And I need you all to know that I am
No.
I am made of buttholes and sonic.
Alex Jones is selling exclusive bunker protection. We will
powerbomb you into another dimension.
It's like I live in a cacophony of just like fucking horrible, gruff-voiced men. Like,
We will build your bunker for you.
Guys, we're in Cloverfield 5.
Jesse Ventura's pectoral muscles are of Cloverfield 6 and 7.
We will supply you with anti-extraterrestrial and deep state weapons. That is right.
God.
You're a demon. Brutus the Barber Beefcake could have taken Clover down.
Oh, bye everybody. Fuck X-Men Apocalypse.
Bye.
Bye.
Fuck Twitter.